and welcome to the Gran Turismo World Series World Finals, coming to you live from Monaco. We are in our final day of competition, and today is the big one. Yes, it's the Nations Cup. But before we get into all of that, let's have a little chat about what happened yesterday. Yes, the Manufacturers' Cup champions were crowned, and it was Team Subaru taking it away from Team Toyota with the tiniest of margins, mainly due to some very challenging weather conditions that were kind of thrown into the mix. Now, you guys also voted for your Michelin drive of the day, and I can happily announce that that was Igor Fraga. Very good choice. You can do the same again today, and we will announce the winners after the end of the show. Now, before we get into the Nations Cup, you probably want to know just sort of how we got here and a little bit of how it works. So let's take a look at that competition format. Okay, here we go. Yes, we've got 12 drivers that are going to be competing in our grand final today for the Nations Cup. This is how the qualifier is going to go down, and obviously this determines the grid for the grand final, so super important, of course, as always. We've got 30 laps in the final race, and there's going to be a whole bunch of points up for grabs. Now, but this isn't going to be how it's going to totally go down. Obviously, these are added together, and that's how we work out our Nations Cup world champion. An awful lot of action happened on Friday, so we thought it'd be nice and just put together a little bit of a recap so that you can be fully up to speed and enjoy the Nations Cup final today. Now, while you watch that, I'm gonna head inside because apparently we're about to unveil this new Ferrari Vision GT we might have mentioned, you know, so you watch that. I'm gonna head on in. Yes, finally, we're back in Monaco after 3 years for the 2022 Gran Turismo World Finals. On Friday, we had all the ingredients for an unforgettable night. Exciting races, known faces, new faces, the best possible lineup of sports cars you could imagine. Oh yeah, and of course, just, you know, a little quick masterclass with the maestro himself, Sir Lewis Hamilton.
Monaco is very special. There's a lot of memories here.
It's the culmination of a year of racing, qualifying, and it all comes down to one event to find out who's best.
The race action started with the Asia-Oceania region.
We're ready to go for the Asia-Oceania regional final for the Nations Cup.
Oh, that's a massive one. The inside goes Matt McEwen past Side Bishop.
Cockerman's on the inside. Can he go through into third place and qualify for the grand final? Contact between the two. Suzuki on the inside.
Takuma Miyazono secured the first regional champion title of the night. Fellow countrymen Tomoaki Yamanaka and Ryota Kokubun completed the triple Japanese podium. Then followed the EMEA final.
Gallo already up into the lead now, and I think going to try and make that gap. You see the background ceiling a little bit wide. Was that contact there with Drumont? Oh, and both Watts made a mistake, big mistake. He's covered it up, has he? How the hell did he keep that?
Here comes the Spaniard down the inside and into fourth place.
Coque Lopez finally got the Nations Cup win. He's been chasing since 2018. 2021 Nations Cup world champion Valerio Gallo finished second, followed by French driver Baptiste Beauvoir, both securing a place in the grand final. It was time for the Americas final.
Here comes Benelli running side by side with the Chilean. He goes up the inside into the left-hander. Side by side they run. Fraga goes through into second. Great driving there into the centre. Steenhouse not giving it up. He's going to try and push Carrazza wide. It's almost a repeat of what we saw with Verstappen versus Hamilton.
We go into the look at the lunge. So much confidence on the brakes, and the helps is coming. Really nice move there by Mosso.
Magic from Mosso, wasn't it? Up into fifth place. What a lunge that was.
The overspeed there, 330 k's goes to the outside. He's squeezed to the wall. Mosso goes around the outside of Carrazza like he's standing still. Mosso is charging. What a move there.
No, Igor Fraga didn't win this one, but he crossed the line in second place behind the Chilean Angel Inestrosa. It wasn't enough for Inestrosa to catch up with Fraga, who remains at the top of the leaderboard in the points championship. The last driver to advance directly to the final was Fraga's fellow Brazilian driver, Lucas Bonelli.
Here is our repechage lineup. It's going to be a mad race. I'm really looking forward to this. Only the top three will go through to the grand final, so everything to play for here.
It all came down to the repechage.
The next one's the left hand is already by Carrazza's by as well. He sent it around the outside.
So there's only a handful of corners now remaining for Serrano. Suzuki leading the way, but Serrano with great momentum. Can he manage to make a move stick? No.
Saw Suzuki, Serrano and Carrazza grab the last 3 seats in the world final.
Sire Suzuki wins the repechage here in the Nations Cup ahead of Jose Serrano, and Adriano Carrazza makes it through into the grand final.
Grand final race is going to be really difficult because this time it's the same track but in reverse. So it's more challenging.
I think this is the most difficult year where you can find the most complete drivers overall.
30 drivers down to 12 grand finalists will give it all to become the 2022 world champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome to Monaco. Welcome to the venue, the place for our World Finals for the 2022 Gran Turismo World Series. It is time to crown our Nations Cup World Champions. All year we have been waiting for this one. Today's the day.
That video was awesome, wasn't it? I haven't seen that video yet, but yeah, awesome atmosphere here, of course, inside the Sporting in Monaco. Really can't wait to get things underway. And if that's not enough, we're joined by a very special guest this evening, none other than F1 driver, F1 race winner, Esteban Ocon in the house. Great to have you here, Esteban, and he'll actually be joining us up here for commentary in qualifying. So no pressure, Tom, mate.
Ah, well, you know, we love a bit of Esteban. He was very gracious when we had him in the Pro-Am race a few minutes ago. More on that a little bit later. Points now, though, and how they sit coming into the Grand Final for the Nations Cup. Igor Fraga, 12 points, 2 to the good of Angel Nostroza. Ryota Kokkonen and Valerio Gallo tied for third place. Lucas Benelli just 1 point adrift there. Serrano, Beauvoir, Miyazono, Drummond, Lopez, Yamanaka, Suzuki, Carrazza, the last of the point scorers. It's anybody's game, this, isn't it?
It is, in fact, of course, bear in mind, we do have double points on offer here in the Grand Final. So there are the points as they would be. If you were to finish first, you would get 24 points, which means I think it's the first 5 or 6 drivers in our lineup. If they win tonight, no one else can touch them points-wise. So it's going to be very, very close and a very, very hard-fought Grand Final for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We're really looking forward to seeing what is going to happen. Of course, that is along the way very shortly. We've got a top 12 qualifier for our drivers as well to determine the grid order. Then we're straight into the Grand Final very shortly. But before we get that underway, let's head down to Julia for a very special announcement.
Yes, now is the moment we have all been waiting for. It's time to finally unveil the Ferrari Vision GT. to say that the collective jaw of everyone is on the floor now. So I'm joined by Flavio Manzini, who's the Chief Design Officer from Ferrari, and a man, of course, who needs no introduction at a Gran Turismo event. It's Yamauchi-san. First of all, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for making this. I mean, guys, it's beautiful, right? Yeah. Jeez. Well, when did you start creating this? How long ago?
Well, my advanced design team and I, we started 2.5 years ago, more or less, with the intention of creating the vision of the future of the brand. But we wanted to make something absolutely without compromises, without constraints. Nevertheless, we wanted to make something absolutely futuristic, but also credible. That's why, since the very first moment, we involved all the departments of the company, and especially aerodynamics and engineering, in order to make something that absolutely stunning, not only in terms of aesthetics, but also in terms of driving thrills Ferrari is famous for, that we wanted to deliver to the digital world for a whole new audience.
I mean, I think you've done that. Look at it. So how does it differ between, making, a car and then a car as a Vision GT? Is there a different process?
Well, in this case, as I said, we started from an idea of generating a new design philosophy. I mean, this car is a design manifesto for the brand. We started with several 2D proposals and many 3D models until reaching what we believe to be the perfect interpretation, the perfect synthesis. And you can see this is a kind of original, combination of very sharp and, geometric lines and also organic surfaces. And this organic concept is something that blends aerodynamics and beauty together in a way that, in my opinion, is absolutely stunning. We call it speed form, but I think this is something that goes far away. It's a kind of flying object. So now I'm really curious about seeing what you guys will do with this creation.
I mean, I would fully recommend coming up close, because the more I've been in front of it, I keep noticing more and more details that I just find amazing. Do you have a favourite part of the car? Is there one bit you're really proud of?
It's difficult. Everything is something that we fall in love with that.
I think we fall in love with that, quite honestly. Yamauchi-san, so obviously, Vision GT is in its 9th year now. I mean, you've had some incredible cars in the games, but I mean, it's pretty cool getting Ferrari in there. That's got to be a bit of a dream.
ですね、今年、間もなく、このビジョングランツーリスモのプロジェクトって10年目を迎えるんですね。で、ビジョングランツーリスモのプロジェクトはおそらく今後数十年の、自動車のデザインの歴史に、大きな影響を与えると思うんですけれども、とりわけ、この、10年を目前にして登場したフェラーリのビジョンは、今後100年のね、自動車のデザインのマスターピースになるだろうと思っています。すごくプレーンで美しいデザインだと思います。
So this year, or very soon, the Vision Gran Turismo project will reach its 10th anniversary, and I think the Vision Gran Turismo project itself is something that will continue to affect the history of automobiles for several dozen years into the future. But this car that pretty much marks the 10th year of the Vision Gran Turismo project, I think is a car that's going to affect automotive design for the next 100 years.
I mean, I have to say, I feel like having a Ferrari, it's sort of, I feel like it's everyone's car awakening moment as a teenager. Is that just me? Maybe it's just me. Well, look, it looks absolutely stunning. I mean, let's give him a big round of applause. It does look incredible, and we can't wait to see it. And now, why don't we take a look at it in the game?
Well, that looks absolutely incredible. What an amazing unveiling, the Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo, coming to GT7 very soon. It's amazing, though, looking at it, because I can see different design cues in there. There's a bit of Ferrari 330, a bit of 5112S. It's just awesome, isn't it?
Do you reckon I'll miss it if I take it home? Probably.
They probably will. Of course, it is also the 25th anniversary of Gran Turismo 7 this year, and we are giving you guys the opportunity to be involved as a part of the 25th anniversary. There's a campaign on GT7 right now, so let's take a look, shall we, and see what's involved for you guys.
If you have opened up GT7 in the past couple of days, you will see that it has been updated for the World Finals. We're celebrating Gran Turismo's 25th anniversary in style. And if you enter the 25th anniversary races, you will be gifted a X2019 in a stunning special livery. You can also get closer to the action by competing in the exact same races as our 2022 World Finals drivers. And if you're watching this Nations Cup Grand Final stream, you're in for a big treat. Click on the Viewers Campaign tile at the top of the world map within the next 7 days and answer a question you can only know the answer to if you're watching. And you will have early access to the stunning Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo that we unveiled live today. See you in GT7.
Fantastic. Really looking forward to seeing what the campaign is going to bring for you guys at home, and of course with the brand new Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo as well. Now, of course, as we know, we've got Esteban Ocon here, and we put him to good use. We had a Pro-Am race earlier on here this afternoon. So let's take a look, shall we, at some highlights from that event. So we had 3 semi-finals, 1 grand final. It was Esteban Ocon who started on pole position. His pro driver, though, Kylian Drumont, was the man who took to the wheel at the initial stages. It all got pretty frantic in the opening part of the top 10, though, Jimmy.
Yeah, George went lawn mowing for a little bit there. Not the ideal line through there, but as you see, as it was Team Ocon that led the race, a bit into the Dumont, almost putting it into the wall on the way, and then Esteban got into the car, went onto the higher compound tyres and did his best to try and run away from Team Toyota, who were charging fast behind.
Yeah, they absolutely were, and you can see here now in the latter stages, Toyota versus Esteban Ocon then, so this was a real dogfight, and it was fantastic to see how it all worked out, and you can see here Esteban going up the inside, trying to make that move stick into turn 4. Sadly, did not quite work out. Big smile on his face regardless, but it was Team Toyota that took the win. Esteban Ocon finishing in second place with his pro driver, and then Toyota finishing in third position. What a great race that was. Great for the audience here in Monaco as well. And I'm delighted to say, welcoming to the commentary box, it is Esteban Ocon, his very self.
Thank you for welcoming me.
It's amazing to have you here, Esteban. I mean, just talk us through that Pro-Am race from your point of view. How was it?
It was a lot of fun, and what an experience for me, you know, to be driving with such competitive guys at the top level. I've learned a lot today, I have to say, and I know still what I have to work on. Happy to finish second on the podium. Obviously, Kylian did an amazing job on the first stint to keep me, you know, a little bit in peace on the second stint. I thought I could have a go on the inside, but it was a bit late and I was on the hard tire, so we will give it a revenge next time.
I really enjoyed your last attempt lunge.
Yeah, it was
a good effort.
Desperate lunge.
That's something you practice online sometimes?
Well, I try to be aggressive, still need to be fair, obviously, but yeah, I mean, I race the same as I do in reality, and it's important, yeah, to be respect on track.
Well, of course, we've got the Nations Cup Grand Final taking place here tonight as well. 12 of the world's very best drivers that have been completing over the course of this season. You can see the machine that they will be taking to the grid with. This is the Red Bull X2019 Competition. 3-litre V12, 650 kilograms, 0.81 kilograms per horsepower. Just the casual 804 horsepower going through the rear wheels there, JB.
I actually drove this car earlier on one of the simulators we have out back, and I was like 5 seconds a lap slower than these guys. I've got to really work on what's going on there. But a proper weapon of a car, this. We're very familiar, of course, with it in the GT competitions. And also, we are at the Trial Mountain Reverse Circuit. If you are a fan of Gran Turismo, you'll know this track. But, of course, you know how we like to do things at these events. We've switched it round. It's in reverse.
Yeah, single lap qualifying for these drivers. Esteban, Trial Mountain is a legendary circuit within GT. One of your favourites?
Yeah, definitely. And I was so happy to see it come back, obviously, in GT7. I used to take the chicane, the last chicane, and launch the car, you know, on the side. That was the quick way of taking it. And yeah, in reverse, I actually never tried it, so it's going to be awesome to see.
It's awesome. Give it a go, for sure.
I will do.
Well,
I will do.
It's interesting, though, because we were actually planning a grid start, and then the stewards looked at it and saw it's a 90-degree left-hand and thought, oh, no, hang on a minute, we can't go and do that. Goodness me. But yeah, single lap qualifying. I mean, you have obviously been on the limit in Formula One. You know what it's like to push a car to the maximum. Just talk us through what it's like to extract the maximum performance out of a car like that.
Yeah, and on a single lap, you know, these guys have driven, you know, quite a few hours ago now. You can see obviously the pressure, you know, starting to build up. It's a big moment for everyone. Obviously, you know, qualifying is like 90% of your race, so they know they have to nail that lap. And yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see who's going to nail it the best.
Absolutely. Well, the drivers now heading out on track for their single lap qualifying session. Adriano Corazza, the first of the drivers heading on to the circuit here, and of course getting some heat into the tyres and the brakes. What goes through your mind on the outlap here when you know that you've only got one opportunity to nail it? What are you thinking about?
Well, you are trying to feel, you know, everything that you can, trying to get as close to the limit as you can, because, you know, the outlap, they are going to have only 2 laps in total. So, you know, getting used to everything as best as possible before nailing it for the first time.
Of course, especially in a car like this, the X2019, all about downforce, all about aero. It's all about warming those tyres up to a point where you can actually go and use that aerodynamic grip. And of course, we see Corazza right now getting quite close to the wall around it. This is quite similar kind of to a street circuit. Do you have any tips to our drivers for street circuits driving? Seems appropriate as we're in Monaco, of course.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't have any tips to give to these guys. They are much better than me. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, they are getting as close to as possible to the walls. You know, there's a lot of lap time to gain. As Jimmy said, you know, it's all about keeping the speed up, because the downforce will make you go quicker in corners.
Well, let's ride on board then here with Adriano Corazza coming down into the 90-degree left-hander of turn 1. Pick your braking point in here and thread the eye of a needle through the left, then the right. Don't take too much curb on the right. You can see the sleeping policeman there ready to try and catch the drivers out. We're fortunate we've got the sector times here, Jimmy, as well, to keep an eye out and see how the drivers are faring on this single lap.
Yeah, I'm watching Corazza's line through there and already thinking really bad about my own lines earlier on. Like, much quicker for the first sector than me there. All about keeping it nice and neat and tidy through here. This downhill section is actually really easy to lose the car over the camber, over the rise, but into this right hand you can really dip into the camber, use the aero of the car and use the gears to rotate onto the straight. It seems like a fairly decent exit so far, but nothing to compare to at the moment.
Yeah, coming through the tunnel then, accelerating up to over 320 kilometres an hour. This, of course, is where the car is at maximum velocity. He's got a car in front of him there, which is just on their warm-up lap. Of course, they're all out in the sort of a staggered formation here in this session, so hopefully that won't catch Adriano Corazza out too much. Dirty air is off in this qualifying session, so not something that they're going to have to worry about if he does catch him up, but it will be possibly a bit of a distraction. So coming through this final sector, nice smooth steering inputs here, no oversteer on the exit of the corners, and coming through the exit of the corners, I mean, that's so important in these high downforce cars, Esteban.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you carry the penalty through all the straight if you don't have a good exit. So yeah, very quickly it's going to be important to get those exits right.
Well, we know the drivers are absolutely flat out from this point here, ready to come to the timing line. Let's see what the first representative time to come through for Adriano Corazza will be. It's a 1:27.2. That's pretty good.
That's a good time. Yeah, low 27s is what I saw earlier on. The 27.2 is pretty quick there from Corazza. Here is Suzuki. We don't have these split times as of yet, but we can see his lap at the moment. He comes to the start-finish line. Can he go inside Corazza there for the provisional pole? I don't think he can. No, a 27.7. There's a half a second off, and that's quite a big chunk of time when the cars are all the same spec. But Yamanaka currently up in his best.
Yeah, Tomoaki Yamanaka doing a really good job of just increasing that advantage in the second sector. He comes to break the beam then. What can the Japanese driver do? He loses it in the third and final sector. But look at Koke Lopez here, JB.
Yeah, Koke Lopez on an absolute awesome lap so far. 2 temps up in the last sector. We saw Corazza was quick through this last little bit, though. This is head down, goes to the start-finish line. This could be a 26 if it's good. Not quite at 27.0, but 2 temps inside Corazza. Round of applause here from our audience. Awesome time there. Serrano, though, not quite able to keep the same pace as his compatriot. In fact, I think he might have made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, I think you're quite right. Yeah, Jose Serrano has obviously made some kind of an error here on this flying lap, because it says 7 seconds down according to the timing split, so it's going to be last on the grid then for Jose Serrano. Big mountain to climb here in this grand final, but of course double points on offer for the drivers now. We know that coming out of here it is completely flat, even though they are making their way through the next series of corners. Jose Serrano looks like he's chucked this one away. What does it feel like from a driver's perspective there, Esteban, as when you know you've made that mistake?
Well, yeah, it hurts. Obviously, it hurts a lot. I'm just looking at my French compatriot, Baptiste, 27.2 at the moment. Yeah, looks like a very, very clean lap from Koke at the moment. It's going to be tough to come back for Jose Serrano through the race. He's probably going to start last if nobody goes and make another mistake. But yeah, really good lap from Koke. I know I've raced him back in COVID times, and he gave me a very hard time, when we raced with Carlos Sainz as well. So yeah, he's very, very quick.
There you go, Koke there, a couple of big feathers for his cap as Miyazono comes to the start-finish line to start his his flying lap now, sorry. So, but you can see, you know, how close it is between our drivers here. Second and fourth separated by 0.08 of a second. Now it's time to Takuma Miyazono. We know how fast Takuma Miyazono is, so I say he's never really shone in this particular car, has he?
No, it's always been a bit of an Achilles heel there for Takuma. I remember back to one of the World Tours, and he made a couple of mistakes in these high downforce machines. What's it like when you're pushing the limits, Esteban, in these high downforce machines? Because from what it looks like from an audience perspective, they snap really quickly.
Yeah, it's a completely different philosophy of driving compared to a GT car. Obviously, as soon as you slide, you are going to lose time. You are going to be able to, you know, correct it, and that's very costly in terms of lap time. And yeah, everything's faster. You need to be sharp. You need to have your eye in. Everything's coming faster at you because of the speed that you are reaching. Yeah, it is a completely different philosophy to drive.
Let's check what Miyazono's lap time is so far, coming through the channel here. Good speed there, not as close to the wall as it could be, but then opening up the next corner as we go through the split time. The time to beat is a 2:09. It's got a 3:0 there, so a 10 down. Yeah, I think he might have done actually.
Yeah.
So through the last right hander now, opens up nicely, almost into the barrier there. Might have grabbed a little bit of grass. We'll see actually if that little wall touch has slowed him down as he comes through now the last couple of corners. Complete flat for here, of course. 27.0 to beat Koke Lopez. Awesome time from him. Can Miyazono go quicker? I don't think he will. Ooh. Oh, he does by 1,000th of a second!
Wow.
Oh my word!
Wow.
What a lap time here from Takuma Miyazono. Absolutely obliterated the competition by just 1,000th of a second. What about Lucas Benelli then, the Brazilian driver? Is he going to have anything left in his back pocket to try and answer him as they come through the final series of corners then, Lucas Benelli? He's ready to come to the timing line then, and let's see what the Brazilian driver is going to be able to do then as he gets ready to start his first and flying lap in this session. What's been the most impressive element, Esteban, for you in watching the Gran Turismo World Series so far?
Well, for me, it's the level of you know, the field that we can see. Obviously, I raced with some of the guys in the Pro-Am race just before, and I was able to train with them. And you know, all the laps they were doing, they were in the same tense all the time, like 20,000s better, 20,000s better. You know, each lap it was on the limit and super consistent. It was super impressive. But yeah, what a last sector by Miyazono now.
Yeah, super impressive. Esteban, we're going to have to let you go now and let you go over to the French commentators, because we know that well, they want to get you on the French stream as well. So look, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a genuine pleasure.
Enjoy.
Look forward to seeing you, and I hope you enjoy the rest of it. I'll take that from you there. Right, let's see what Lucas Benelli can do then. He is currently P8, of course, having not set his representative lap time here then in this session, coming through the sort of technical part of the circuit. He's lost a tenth of a second already in that first sector. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's crucial here in this single lap qualifying session.
Yeah, we've seen though, like the time can be pulled back if Miyazono's that anything to go by. It seems like a nice clean end of a lap so far, but charging to the start-finish line now is Lucas Benelli in the X2019. Can he go quicker? I'm not sure. Let's see. Comes to the start-finish line. No, a bit slower at 27.4, but it's in provisionally 6th on the grid. So, next up, big name. I say big name, he almost puts it in the walls, I say that. Here's Valerio Gallo, of course, our 2021 Nations Cup reigning champion, but for how much longer? Coming to start now his flying lap. What do we think about Valerio here?
Well, I spoke to him earlier on. I said, look, what's your plan for this one? What are you going to go into this thinking? And he said, the thing is, I've just got to keep the pressure off myself, just keep calm, not try and overdrive the car. He said, I'm just going to let it all come to me and let it all flow naturally. And that's what he was so good at last year. Of course, different kettle of fish in 2021. We were doing it all from home. Now we're here on the big stage, in the big venues, in Monaco. Now the pressure is really on here for Valerio Gallo. Oversteer out of turn 2. That's really not going to help his run. He's going to carry that all the way down through to the next corner.
We know Valerio, of course, has a lot of talent. It's just whether he can extract it here. See, really pushing the car to limit. A gear up and some of the other cars through there, but sideways on the exit now. This tricky section, this downhill section, it looks easy enough, but very easy to lose a car into the right-hand side there. Come through the first sector, he's 2 temps down on Miyazono. It has to be due to that wheel spin moment, I think, coming out of the tight right-hand. And now down the main straight, this is a bit of a chance to reset yourself on the lap here at Trial Mountain. Just to concentrate on your marks. Coming up now to a very tricky braking zone. What you can't see here is the light sort of blinds you for a second as you come out of the tunnel, and then you have to just aim for an apex that you can't see there. Really, really quick through that right-hander, and now coming into this technical section where we've seen a couple of mistakes already.
Got to be careful not to overdrive the car now at this point when you've made that mistake, when you put the pressure on. Gallo, though, losing more time in this third sector, unfortunately. 3.5 tenths down. You can see him there feathering the throttle, trying to find the grip that just isn't there for him, and he's pushing too hard now. He is beginning to overdrive that car. It's costing him more than he's going to be set to gain here, and Valerio Gallo is going to be starting right down the order here. Let's see what his time is going to be relative to those around him. Valerio Gallo, the reigning champion, where does he qualify for the grand final? It's only 7th fastest, and that's some 7/10 of a second off of the pole time.
Yeah, you can see visibly frustrated with that time, but the pressure may be getting to Valerio there. Meanwhile, we're to Kokubun. This guy looks like pressure doesn't faze him. I've only seen one expression from him over the last 3 years we've known him. Very, very quick driver. And see Esteban there, of course, joining our French commentators. Probably having a great time in the French room at the moment, aren't they? But here comes Road to Kokubun, start hits up. Let's see how he is through this first couple of corners, because we have a comparison in terms of Valerio. Let's see how he is on power outside of this right hand. You see, a lot neater, a lot tinier. Car is accelerating quicker.
Yeah, he's doing a good job there. Is Brockman just feeling that mechanical and the aerodynamic grip coming to him, flicking it into the right hander. Nicely done through there. Good line, nice smooth steering inputs here. That's what you've got to be in these cars. You can't go and harry the wheel and take it by the scruff of the neck. You've got to be really, really smooth as he comes over the crest of the hill. This is looking nice and tidy in the first sector. He's only 0.08 of a second shy of his compatriot Takuma Miyazono through the right hander. Get a good exit out of here, and it's nice there from Kokubun, if not a little bit of understeer mid-corner.
I think that's all right. You know, a friend of mine once told me you want to make the car force it out to the outside of the circuit, don't just drive it there. And Kokubun there was forcing the car out, using all the road at that point. Only 8 thousandths down on Miyazono, which is pretty much nothing at this point. If he can get a slightly better exit through there. Hesitation though into the right hand, taking a couple of stabs at the throttle through there, maybe gotten the throttle a little bit too early. Let's see where he is in the middle sector. You see it's cost him 0.2 of a second down now. It's Road to Kokubun. We saw Miyazono really nail these last 2 sectors on his lap. I think his first sector wasn't that special, but his last 2 were amazing. And Kokubun there, okay, it seems. I think it's going to be a decent lap here from Road to Kokubun, but I don't think it's going to be enough to dethrone Miyazono on provisional pole.
Not unless he has an absolutely belting final sector. He comes to the timing line now. What is it going to be for Road to Kokubun? I think he'll put him inside the top 5, at least if he doesn't carry too much. But he loses a bit more time in that final sector. It's only 7th quickest for Kokubun then, so disappointing for him. What about the 2022 America's regional final champion? Dominated it, didn't he, the other day? Angel Enestrosa, a lights the flag victory for the Chilean driver. Can he put the cat amongst the pigeons here in this single lap qualifying session? We're about to find out as he gets ready to wind himself up for his one and only flying lap in this session. Just 2 drivers now remaining. Can Enestrosa get himself up the sharp end of the field? We're about to find out. Down the start finish straight, pick your braking point into the left-hander, nice through the first corner, into the right-hander, get a good exit out of here, try not to spin the wheels up, looks okay.
Yeah, as previously stated, Angel Enestrosa is my boy. He's very, very quick over the course of this year. Again, the X2019 maybe not his favourite car though, but nice and neat tiny so far in what I have to say is probably my favourite livery on this car. Of course, emblazoned with the Chilean flags. It comes from the first sector. How's the time looking so far? He's 600ths down at the moment. It's not too bad for that first sector, but we know there's a lot of times we made in these last 2. And in comparison to Kokubun, he didn't actually understeer out to the curb. He drove it out to the curb, so maybe carrying a bit more speed down the straight.
Yeah, it's looking quite nice here for Angel Enestrosa. It's all about those last 2 sectors. As you said, Miyazono was just supremely fast through there. Got that car hooked up really, really nicely into the right-hander. Looks okay through there. Not too bad at all. On the power, nice and smoothly. As you can see, those one-at-a-time smooth inputs of the steering wheel. No oversteer through there. Over to the right-hand side. He's up. Brilliant middle sector, but he runs a bit wide. Too much understeer through that left-hander. Slight mistake there for Angel Enestrosa. It's going to cost him time.
Yeah, really a shame that might have cost him his shot at pole position, but a really good lap by Angel Enestrosa so far. Foot planted to the floor, driving the car to the line. Can Angel Enestrosa for Chile dethrone Takuma Miyazono at the top of the time sheet? Miyazono locks on. He doesn't, slightly slower there. That mistake really cost him 3rd place there for Angel Enestrosa. You see, that was worrying Takuma Miyazono, and now it comes down to this man, our first ever Nations Cup champion, Igor Fraga, a legend in the Gran Turismo community and at these Gran Turismo events, and he loves this car. If anyone is going to upset the order, it's going to be Igor as he winds up now for his flying lap.
Yeah, we know Igor's got good pace underneath him. He, of course, has been present in all of the events that we've had here so far. The Toyota GR-GT Cup, here in the Manufacturers' Cup as well, and now here in the Nations Cup. So he's well versed in GT7, but of course these Red Bull X2019s, very different kettle of fish. Bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 2. That's not going to help his chance. Already he's put himself on the back foot after a couple of corners.
Let's ride with Igor then for his lap as we come around the right-hander up the hill now. Of course, you might be familiar to going down this hill. We're in the reverse layout of Trial Mountain, and now hug the apex here. Let the car settle for a bit before getting on throttle and try and straight line out of it before we plunge down the hill through the first sector timing beam. He is down by not by much, only 200ths of a second. Really nice and neat and tidy. How's he done this through exit? No, uses all the track there to perfection, millimetric perfection there for Igor Fraga as we now head down the straight. All you can do now is just mash the throttle to the floor and think about your braking zone. Think about carrying the speed through this right-hander. Here's where the downforce of this X2019 really comes into play. Throw it into the inside. Really nice through there for Igor. Now only a few more corners between him and a possible pole position. Let's see what he is in sector 2.
So through into the right he goes, then into the left, 1.5 tenths down. I don't think it's going to be enough for Igor Fraga unless he has an absolutely meteoric final sector, but we know how difficult it is to make up time through there. He's just losing it now as he comes through the right. He's got a good exit out of there, but I don't think it's going to be enough given the time he's lost over the course of the remainder of this lap. He's pinned it now. Full throttle to the line here for Igor Fraga. Can he do anything? Can he get himself maybe onto the second row of the grid for Igor Fraga, the Brazilian driver? No, it's only 5th fastest. He loses even more time in that final sector. Pole position for the grand final goes to Takuma Miyazono by 1,000th of a second.
You see Miyazono there sort of meekly celebrating in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, but you can see the pressure was on for him. He was looking up at the screen. He did not feel safe in that position, but also massive shout-out to Coque Lopez, just missing out by 1,000th. That is the Gran Turismo World Series, ladies and gentlemen. That is Nations Cup. The best drivers in the world separated by 1,000th of a second. Insane margins.
You can see there Takuma talking about how he's having to rinse the wheel there and how difficult it was with other drivers dealing with oversteer over the course of that lap. Well, that's, I don't want to say half the job done. That's probably doing it a bit of a disservice because the race is a very long one. Of course, there's strategy to consider, but he certainly put himself on the right foot for the remainder of the race going into that grand final.
Well, bear in mind, of course, Valerio Gallo, the complete opposite affair for him. He's right down the bottom of the field there, and that's one of the main contenders in the Nations Cup, starting from right down the bottom of the pack. So, yeah, as you say, not half the job done, but it puts you in a much better position coming for the grand final.
Let's have a look, shall we, at the results then from the grand final qualifying. Takuma Miyazono, pole position by 1,000th of a second. He'll be joined on the front row by Coque Lopez. Then it is Angel Nestroza, Adriano Carrazza, Igor Fraga. Looked like a good start to the lap. He lost it in the middle, and then it lost even more time at the end. He starts 5th with Yamanaka, Beauvoir, Benelli, Kokeman. 2021 champion Valerio Gallo just behind him there with Seiya Suzuki and Jose Serrano. That mistake on his flying lap costing him very dear. He'll be right at the very back of the grid. Let's head down to Julia then, shall we? She is with our pole sitter, Takuma Miyazono.
Yes, I am. Thanks, Tom. So, first of all, well done. That was amazing, like incredible. But also, I'd like to say it's great because, you know, obviously you weren't able to be here last time we were out in Salzburg, and now you're back here and you are so strong right out the gate. It feels like Miyazono's time once again.
すごい結果おめでとうございます。前回はザルツブルクやっぱ来れなかったわけですけど、なのに復帰した途端もうこのままもう勢いを失うことなく強い結果を出せてきてますけど、それについて何か心情を話してもらえますか。
はい、ありがとうございます。やっぱりザルツブルグの欠席でちょっとポイント的には厳しい中で、まずはこうやって、ポールを取れてほっとしてます。僕の前の、選手の、タイムがあまり良くなかったので、まずは、落ち着いて、ある程度のタイムを出そうと思いながら走った結果が、いい結果につながったのかなというふうに思っています。次決勝なんですけど、このまま、1位でゴールして2度目のチャンピオンを取れるように頑張ろうと思います。
So yeah, of course, because I missed Salzburg, my point standings are fairly tight. So I'm glad I was able to achieve pole position like this. It's the times that I had, before this when I was, practicing, weren't that great. So I really focused on this time during qualifying to calm myself down, do what I need to do. And now that I've achieved that pole position, I'm just going to do my best to win that final and go for my second championship victory.
I mean, the thing is, if you don't know Takuma Miyazaki, he's unbelievably humble and then just comes in and totally smashes it all the time. It's quite outstanding. Who's the person you're most worried about? Come on, give us a name. I know you hate giving me names. Come on.
いや、全員ですね。全員もうどこに誰かというわけじゃなくて、全員がライバルなので。まあでも1位でゴールすれば結果もついてくると思うので、まずは自分自身にしっかり集中して頑張ろうと思います。
Yeah, so every one of them are my rivals. They're all very strong. But if I come in first, that will win me the championship, and so that's going to be the focus. Is really on me.
Okay, well, if anyone can do it, well, actually, all these guys are over the chance. But you, when you put your mind to it, I think you can pull it out. So good luck in the final.
ありがとうございます。
Well, cheers, Julia. Great to hear from Takuma Miyazono. Bit of confidence going into that final. Not going to be a bad thing, is it?
Confidence, but also respect for his competition there. Just saying that all the drivers I'm against are very strong. So very clever not to count out any of your opposition, I think.
Well, we've had a bumper-to-bumper weekend worth of racing here this weekend in Monaco. We've had the Pro-Am race. We also had GT Sophie, the virtual AI system that has come into play in 2022. We had another Race Together event here this weekend. So let's throw you to some highlights, shall we, and tell you exactly what happened.
This time from GT Sophie, we can expect new race cars, new racetracks.
I feel like Sophie and I have a really strong rivalry. We've raced each other like 3 times now, so I'm excited to race her again.
We worked a lot on making GT Sophie fun in the races, and so hopefully we'll see really exciting head-to-head races with lots of back and forth.
I'm feeling a bit of fear.
To beat Sophie, you need to be aggressive and drive really, really fast.
ソフィーに勝つためには、ソフィーがまだ知らないようなことを、人間が何かする必要があるんじゃないかなと思っています。
You have to stay in front. If you let her pass, then it's kind of over already.
GT Sophie's exhibition race here at Monaco gets underway. Valerio Gallo leads the field down towards the first corner.
He's regretting his words, saying it's going to be easy as Rouge goes diving up the inside, uses a little gutter on the left there, and Gallo's got nowhere to go. Just like that, Gallo down to second. Humanity is over, Tom.
Gallo's got the inside line. Can he break later? Can he hold into second place? He can indeed, just for the time being. This is great defensive driving here from the reigning champion, but a bit wide on corner 18. And Blur goes through, up into second place.
And we're seeing some of the best drivers in the world in Gran Turismo having just to defend from the AI. There's no chance to attack. They're too fast at this point. At the moment, it's Gallo, Miyazono and Fraga who are just about holding up the train behind to Sophie there, but Sophie Rouge and Sophie Blur, they're just gone.
Into the left, and then it's the run down into the chicane. That's the last opportunity to find your way through. No such problems though for Sophie Rouge as she comes through the final series of corners and comes across the line to win the GT Sophie exhibition race here in Monaco. It's Sophie Rouge on top by nearly 3 seconds.
ソフィーが本当にちょっとした人間の隙をついてオーバーテイクしていく姿がすごく印象的でした。
In many ways, I think Yamauchi-san actually said it best when he said that maybe GT Sophie triggers a rewriting of the book of racing. I mean, that's sort of the dream that we have, that we actually explore the limits of physics in a way that the humans haven't done before, and that would be amazing.
Well, let's welcome in our 12 drivers who will take to the grid for the grand final of the Nations Cup for the GT World Series. Please welcome on stage from Brazil, Adriano Carrazza. From Japan, it's Saya Suzuki. Please welcome, from Japan also, it is Tomoaki Yamanaka! From Spain, he'll start this race right at the top, it is Cocaine Lopez! Next up, also from Spain, please welcome Jose Serrano! From France, please give it your all for Baptiste Beauvoir! Starting the race from pole position, please welcome Japan's Takuma Miyazono! Please give it your all for Brazil's Lucas Bonelli! Please welcome the reigning champion from Italy, it's Valerio Gallo! Next up, please welcome from Japan, it's Ryota Kokobun! Please welcome from Chile, it is Angel Enestrosa! And last but not least, please welcome from Brazil, Igor Fraga! And now, ladies and gentlemen, your respect please for the national anthem of our host nation here in Monaco. Goodness me, what a great way to kick off proceedings then here for the Nations Cup Grand Finals. The conclusion of the 2022 Gran Turismo World Series is just moments away. Let's get this thing started, shall we? Here we are then, we're ready to go. It is the GT World Series Nations Cup Grand Finals coming to you live from Monaco. This is going to be hugely exciting. 12 of the world's very best drivers in Gran Turismo, all going head-to-head with one aim in mind, to become the 2022 World Champion. And of course, we are live in 7 different languages here as well, not only in English, but we've got Mikkel and Florian live in German. We have our French commentators, Donald and Fabien, who have just had Esteban Ocon in the commentary box, the Spaniards of Lucas and Alberto, as well as the Italians of Emilio and Andrea, the Portuguese lineup of Duarte and Francisco, and the Japanese duo of Nakajima-san and Yamada-san. So then, it all comes down to this, a 45-minute race for our drivers, winner takes all. effectively double points on offer. I don't know how to call this. What do you think?
I'm just glad we're back here in person. The atmosphere here in Monaco is absolutely electric. Great to have a live audience back once again. And one thing is for sure, this is going to be an amazing race. Whoever wins this one is going to have a hell of a party later on.
Absolutely. Well, let's have a look, shall we, at the start list for this race and show you who the 12 competitors are that will be lining up on the grid and where they will be. Of course, we saw qualifying Takuma Miyazono snatching pole position from Coque Lopez by just 1,000th of a second. Angel Inestrosa will head row 2 with Adriano Carrazza alongside. Then it's Igor Fraga, Tomoaki Yamanaka, Baptiste Beauvoir, Lucas Benelli from Brazil, Ryota Kokubun from Japan, Valerio Gallo from Italy, the reigning champ, starts down in P10 with Saya Suzuki and Jose Serrano book-ending the grid. And here is the car that the drivers will be competing in as well. The Red Bull X2019 Competition, V12 engine, 650 kilograms, 804 horsepower. It is going to be a tricky thing to tame around the Trial Mountain circuit. And this is the circuit, of course. It is the reverse layout, racing hard, medium and soft tyres, strategy over 30 laps.
That's right, yes. You have to use each tyre at least once, but there is no minimum amount of laps you have to use. So you can pit for 1 lap on the racing hard if you want. No, I wouldn't recommend it. That soft tyre, I've been told, will last maybe 10, 11 laps if you're lucky. Our drivers right now just having a last little bit of preparation down. You can see the nerves on some of the faces there, mixed with some nervous anticipation, I think, Tom.
I think you could be quite right, and rightly so as well. Of course, we had the Manufacturers' Cup finals here yesterday, and we've had some of those drivers competing, of course, in the Nations Cup, including the likes of Igor Fraga, Takuma Miyazono. And you can see here the Nations Cup in numbers, the most wins of the series so far, Igor Fraga with 11. Most top 5 finishes, though, is Takuma Miyazono, and the most experienced driver in terms of races, Coque Lopez.
Yeah, the two on the right are starting side by side on the grid as well. So going to be an explosive first lap. Igor Fraga there just getting his last little bit of practice. And here is the tyre strategy, or what we think the tyre strategy is going to be. As we said before, those soft tyres round here with the tyre wear multiplier aren't going to last very long. 10 laps if you're easy on them, 8 laps if you're not. But you can see the massive difference between the soft and hard tyre in terms of lap time. So when you use that soft compound, like always in these Nations Cup races, it's going to be absolutely pivotal to your race result.
Yeah, you're quite right as well. And of course, it's 30 laps. It's a long old race, 45 minutes. They're going to have to probably take a bit of fuel on board here to consider also. So keen to see what that is going to mean for the drivers as we get ready to go then. So we're about ready to kick things off. Let's get ready to crown our champions of 2022 for the Gran Turismo World Series in the Nations Cup. Ready to go then for one last dance in 2022. The drivers are ready, the audience are ready. We hope you're ready at home as well as we get ready for 30 laps of the Trial Mountain Circuit in reverse for the final time this year in the Nations Cup. Ready to crown our champion. Here's how the grid lines up. Takuma Miyazono will start the race from pole position. Alongside him on the front row will be Coque Lopez from Spain. Row 2, Angel Inestrosa from Chile. And alongside him will be Adriano Carrazza, the Brazilian driver. Next up, we have Igor Fraga from Brazil, the 2018 champion. He has got Tomoaki Yamanaka, the samurai, for company alongside. Next row, Baptiste Beauvoir. He's always been the bridesmaid, never the bride. Can he turn that around here today with Lucas Benelli hot on his heels from 8th on the grid? Ryota Kokubun lines up P9, and next up will be the 2021 champion, the reigning champion, Valerio Gallo. Saya Suzuki lines up 11th on the final row of the grid, and the grid is completed by Jose Serrano in P12. First look at the tyres there, Jimmy. The top 2 starting on the softer compound. Let's see what it's going to mean, because the rest of the field starting on mediums all the way down to 8th, and then everybody else is on hards.
Yeah, it's a strategy we're used to seeing in these races. The top 2 just trying to get away quickly, work together and use that soft tyre. We know Miyazono likes a freeze stopper. That is a possibility around here, though. When starting from the front, maybe not the best idea. Coque Lopez also opting for that soft compounder tyre, so they want to make sure they don't fight too much at the start, so they can pull away from the rest of the pack.
Well, let's see what is going to happen then over the course of 30 laps. At the end of it, when the checker flag falls, we will be crowning our brand new 2022 champion. Who is it going to be? Will it be a repeat winner, or will we see somebody brand new on the top step of the podium? We're about to find out. Tension is in the air as the field get ready to come to the timing line. A quick wipe of the brow there for Lucas Benelli and Valerio Gallo. All eyes on the screen in front of them as we get ready to go. The Nations Cup Grand Final here in Monaco. It's lights out and we're racing for the final time in 2022. Takuma Miyazono leads the field down towards the first corner, followed by Coque Lopez. Adriano Carrazza immediately trying to make ground on Helena Stroza and goes through into third place. So the Brazilian driver making headway at the start there in Stroza. Under attack also here from Yamanaka as well.
Yeah, really good move there from Carrazza. Very opportunistic. Yamanaka and Fraga are side by side already going up the hill here. Yamanaka was round the outside. Igor Fraga, there's contact between the two. So already fighting on first lap here. Yamanaka just about squeezes by now past Igor Fraga. Moves up into 5th position. So good start from Yamanaka. Good start from Gallo too. He's up 1 place from his qualifying position. But Miyazono has managed to keep the lead for now. Coque Lopez is going with him. And now I think we're going to see probably another stab at a couple of overtakes. Got drafting here down the main straight. The cars are going 3 wide in the background. Reggie Kokeman has an awful start. Kokeman down to 11th.
Yeah, not good at all there for the Japanese driver. Likewise, Saya Suzuki not having a particularly good getaway. You can see there in the background the trio of drivers squabbling now for 10th place. And look at the gap already they've got to Valerio Gallo, who is on the same strategy as them, effectively on the hard compound of tyres. So not good at all there for them as they come through the tunnel, because they're already dropping off the back of his coattails, and it's giving them a lot of work to do, especially if they start squabbling amongst one another. It is going to be a difficult start to the race for them. As you can see at the front, no such problems here for Takuma Miyazono. He's taking Coque Lopez with him. They've already got 1.3 seconds over Carrazza in third.
Yeah, first time to have a stab on overtake here. Coque Lopez in the draft of Miyazono goes to the inside here, on the right side here for an overtake into T1. Heavy the brakes, Lopez through into the lead there past Miyazono. Already we're seeing Benelli, Gallo, Serrano and Suzuki come in for another set of tyres. Benelli going for a soft compound. I think it's going to attempt to be a free stopper here, perhaps for Benelli. Lopez then takes the lead for now, and he has to hope that he doesn't fight too much in Miyazono here. He has to really focus on this clean air and try and pull a big gap to the cars behind. So early stops then are the way to go for the hard runs. We know that hard compound of time, we saw it in the graphic, it's almost 3 seconds a lap slow around here. You want to get off it as quick as possible, put it in the bin, get on the mediums, get on the softs, get back out there and give chase.
The crucial thing is coming to the pit lane, what you want is a nice bit of clear air in front of you. You don't want to be emerging into traffic. Of course, it is early doors. Valerio Gallo has a nice bit of clear, well, I say he should have a bit of clear air in front of him, but Lucas Benelli, of course, emerges ahead. The good thing is, at least for Lucas Benelli, is he's on the soft tyre. If he doesn't fall foul to Gallo whilst they're getting their tyres up to temperature, it should be relatively easy pickings for him to pull out a bit of a gap. You can see Takuma Miyazono there in second place. I think he's just keeping a watching brief on Coque Lopez, just not wanting to threaten him too much. But if anything, Lopez was a bit wide coming through that right-hander and putting himself under a bit of pressure here.
Stroza back up into third place. He's got by Carrazza there on the straight angle, and Stroza back up to the position he started in, back into P3. As you say, Tom, I think you're right. I think Miyazono's just waiting a little bit. He doesn't want to fight too much. He's both these drivers have been around the Gran Turismo scene for a very, very long time. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to race effectively with the drivers around them. But let's see it. Saying that, if he fancies to go down to T1 here, this is where Coque Lopez passed us just a lap ago. Miyazono looks to the inside but thinks better of it and gets back into the tow behind.
Look at it in the background there, Stroza versus Carrazza side by side for third position. Carrazza back up and through on the Chilean driver. So these two are going toe to toe, and keep an eye out as well, because it might bring Igor Fraga and Tomoaki Yamanaka into play. Let's have another look at the replay then. This is Stroza going past Carrazza down the back straight into the right hand, and clean as you like there from the Chilean in through into third place. But of course that position has now changed hands because Carrazza is back in front.
We'll see how much they fight now. Fraga, they're coming into the back, as is Yamanaka. Of course, you know Yamanaka likes a lunge, so if he gets close, I'm sure we'll see some fireworks. Carrazza and Stroza pretty much joined at the hip at the moment as we come round onto the back straight once more. That 3 of 30. If you just joined us, welcome to the Grand Finals of the Nations Cup. We're just into this race and just watching the first few laps unfold. Stroza goes for another overtake attempt up the inside here. Maybe they're just drafting together at this point. Well, let's see if Carrazza lifts out early or not, coming into this right-hander. He doesn't, he makes him work for it, so they are still fighting. They are still, and you see there, the result, Carrazza understeers, so nearly it goes into the wall there, has to get off throttle, and that allows Igor Fraga and Yamanaka to come right back into the fold.
Baptiste Beauvoir also not too far adrift, also on the medium combat of tyre. Look at Fraga all over the rear spoiler here, and Carrazza going through this right-hander in the tunnel then. This is now going to be a flat-out run to the timing line, and of course Fraga's got the advantage advantage of that slipstream being pushed in front of him. Live points rankings, if the race fell now, you can see that Coque Lopez would be crowned as the 2022 Nations Cup champion. Very long way to go, though. Still in this race, look here, we're going to get 3 wide. Down the start finish straight then. Yamanaka on the inside, Fraga in the middle, Carrazza on the outside. Picking braking point here, lads. Who's going to break latest? It's Fraga. Can he get the car stopped? Yes, he can. Yamanaka follows him through. Carrazza down, contact there with Beauvoir. Side by side they go into turn 2. Carrazza on the inside, Beauvoir on the outside. Beauvoir has to back out of it, ducks back in behind Carrazza then. It's all kicking off here inside the top 5.
And if you're Angelo Nastrosi, you're rubbing your hands together right now. You've just been gifted the 1.5 second gap over Igor Fraga behind. So a bit of time here for Nastrosi to try and pull the gap. So let's see what happens here. There is Yamanaka. He's gained a place. He's now up with Igor Fraga. Carrazza's a big loser in this situation. He's gone down 3 places since the last lap, down to P6 now, and is now under attack from Baptiste Beauvoir. So coming through down the back straight once again, deep into the toe of Carrazza, and Beauvoir's probably going to just lunge the inside here. There he goes, up the inside goes Baptiste Beauvoir. Very popular place to overtake. Will he be able to do it? No, Carrazza actually has pulled back in front, so maybe Beauvoir thinking maybe now's not the right time.
Yeah, of course, the advantage for Carrazza is he does have that hole being pushed in the air in front of him with Tomoaki Yamanaka, so obviously probably not quite as easy as he'd like it to be. Anyway, he doesn't want to risk anything too early at the moment. Maybe wants to settle for an opportunity where he doesn't have to risk too much, as you see them coming through into the tunnel, clipping that apex on the right of the corner, and then going onto the start-finish straight. You can see the points as they went coming into this event. You can see Igor Fraga had 12, Nastrosi with 10, Cockburn with 9, etc. The driver with the most points will be crowned the 2022 Nations Cup World Champion. At the moment, that's all invalid because we don't know who it's going to be. These two are about to start knocking 7 bells out of each other.
I feel like that should say, if the driver wins the race, he wins. Yeah, you're damn right. I mean, Coque Lopez at the moment is in a spot that if the race ended, he'd be champion. But as you say, we've got a massive part of this race yet to run. Mia's only being quite patient, I think. I think they know they're running good pace. I mean, the only driver quicker than them is Lucas Pinelli, who's running on his own. About 3 tenths of that quicker at the moment. He's at the fastest lap of a 28.5 to Coque Lopez's 28.8. So if Mia's only thinks he's being held up, he might go for a lunge, might try and get through and try and extend the gap himself. Meanwhile, the battle for 4th is still underway. Nastrosi ahead of us by 1.2 seconds. Igor Fraga is now contending with Yamanaka going up the inside here. I don't foresee any scenario where Yamanaka's not going to send it at some point, but right now, thinking about it, which for Yamanaka, actually, we tend to see a bit more aggression than that, so maybe he knows he has to be a bit more careful here if he wants to come away with the win today.
It's a really unfortunate position Yamanaka's in, because he's trying to attack Fraga in front, but he's not keeping a watching eye on Carrazza behind, and we know Carrazza's not afraid of sneaking one up the inside, so to speak. He doesn't want to put himself in a position where he's really compromising his race too much at this point here to Tomoaki Yamanaka, and as I said, maybe just trying to wait for a safer opportunity to get through.
What I'm interested in as well, I mean, we're obviously watching this scrap, but it's also Coquebin. Coquebin's not pitted, he's still on that hard compounder tyre, so is he going to go and try and go for a different strategy to the rest who have got rid of that hard tyre straight away? We'll have to wait and find out, but one to keep an eye on is come down to T1 once again. No one's going for a move. Yamanaka almost into the back of Igor Fraga there. Millimetres between him and the race boy. Look at our mirror as well. You can see he's in a Brazilian sandwich right now. He's got Fraga in front, Carrazza behind. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to be in Yamanaka's shoes right now.
No, I'm trying to think of a Brazilian condiment, but it escapes me. It's probably for the better, to be honest with you. But we can see lap 6 out of 30. We're on through the left-hander we go, and over the rise on the hill. Bit of a snap there for Yamanaka as he just tries to put the power down a little bit too eagerly. That just drops him back closer to the clutches of Adriano Carrazza, who's looming all over him. You can see him closing right up there in the braking zone as they come on the run down this back straight. You can see Baptiste Beauvoir keeping a watching brief on proceedings there as well. The headlights flick on as they come through the tunnel, then emerge briefly into the daylight, then back through into it. And of course, Carrazza, he needs to try and make some headway while he can here. Is he going to try and get a better of Tomoaki Yamanaka at the bottom of the course? No, he can't. He's not quite close enough at the moment. Let's have a look at a replay here. This is when they all kicked off earlier on. We can see them going toe-to-toe. You can see Yamanaka weaving down the start-finish straight, coming in towards that first corner, going for a dive on Igor Fraga up the inside through into turn 1. Nastrosi left kind of hung out to dry there on the apex. Was there a bit of contact there between Fraga and Yamanaka? There was in the middle part of turn 2, and they went side by side on the exit on the run over the hill too.
That's really clever by Yamanaka, because by doing that you're saying to the car in front, hey, I'm not going to go for a move just yet, but actually I am. We'll come back to that now, because Carrazza and Yamanaka are now side by side, going down towards T1. Yamanaka lifts out of it. Karatsa back up into 5th position for now. And both are almost into the back of Yamanaka. You see how close these guys are racing at the moment. Such confidence in each other. And that's just the respect we have here on the Gran Turismo World Series. Massive amounts of sportsmanship from each driver. It's great to see on circuit. Now, I want to very quickly mention Lucas Bonelli. How's this for consistency? His best lap, a 28.565. His last lap, a 28.566. So, very decent there from Bonelli. And he's still quicker than these two in front at the moment.
Just to give you an idea, he started, of course, on the hard tyre, chucked that off, went onto the soft compound of tyre, and the gap between himself and Cockburn was about 16 seconds or so. He's pulled that down to about 5 seconds now. And here is Miyazono going for the move on Koke Lopez for the race lead. Down the back straight, goes through eventually, then does Miyazono back in front on the Spaniard. Can he hold it there, though, is the question. And what is his plan going to be now? He's got some clear track in front of him.
So what we've learned from that is that Miyazono thinks he can go quicker than the current pace set by Koke Lopez. Now, he may well be aware of Bonelli's lap times, because whilst Bonelli isn't with them on circuit, he's lapping about half a second faster than them at the moment.
Cockerman's gone down to 11th here, Jimmy, as well. He's going from bad to worse, unfortunately, for the hard tyre shod runner. Something's clearly gone wrong in his race. Valerio Gallo also dropping a position there to Jose Serrano. So not quite sure what has happened to the Japanese driver, but clearly some kind of a moment on track, whether it was a spin or an off-track excursion, we don't know. Hopefully we'll get a replay and piece together exactly what was the undoing of the Japanese driver's race. But of course, he's running a different strategy. He was the only hard tyre runner who started on this race to not hit at the end of the first lap. He's really put himself now on the back foot to try and salvage a result.
A real shame there for Kokeban, just not his race today, so most likely, yeah, 31.9 was his last lap, so a small issue there for him. But meanwhile, the fight for fourth is still underway. They've been fairly clever about it so far, but look, they have now reeled in Angel and Estroza in front on that medium and compound tyre. Here is a replay of what happened to Rita Kokeban. I guess a bit wide here. Oh, that's a shame. Just clouded there. And very rightly there, waits for the turn before coming back over the circuit in front of Lucas Bonelli. But Miyazono now is dragging along Koke Lopez. So we're going to see what sort of lap time is. The times have fallen off from both of these guys. So I think that soft tyre is starting to come now to the end of its useful shelf life. In fact, I can see on our screen here the rear tyres for both of these drivers are down in the 25% range. So getting on throttle now is going to be very, very difficult for these guys. So it might be this lap, it might be next lap we see a pit for both our leaders here.
We're expecting lap 8 to be the sort of pit window there for the soft runners, according to the tyre graphic we saw earlier on in this race. So that is about right there for them. Let's see whether they're going to blink and whether Koke Lopez, if he's going to follow Miyazono in, if he does go into the pit lane. They don't decide to this time around. They're going to go for one lap longer as they come across the timing line. So lap 9 out of 30 we sit on. Anybody else behind deciding to do anything different? Karatsa and Yamanaka are under investigation for a collision. Yamanaka throwing Miyazono a bit deep into turn 1 there. That's allowing him to come under more pressure now here from Koke Lopez.
So rear tyres, they just aren't giving that traction now. What happens when you have tyres worn at the rear compared to the front is that you just have massive oversteer moments. You can't drive the car into the corner the way you used to do it. So you have to be really, really careful. One, putting the car into the corner, and then two, coming out of the corner. Easy to lose. When we saw what happened to Rita Kokeban, that wasn't on worn tyres, but that's pretty much the effect here. So, looking onto the straight, looks like throttle input there, waiting quite a long time, and Koke Lopez almost losing the car, even despite his caution getting on throttle there, and actually loses a bit of time to Miyazono as a result.
The drivers were talking about this afterwards. They said anything under 20%, the tyres are pretty much next to useless. Serrano and Cockerman into the pits. Cockerman goes onto the medium. Serrano goes onto the soft tyres for his middle stint. Let's have another look and see what happened here with Yamanaka versus Karatsa. So this is coming through the right into the tunnel. Oh, you see Karatsa, he had a bit of a slide there, didn't he, coming through the left-hander. That put him on the back foot. Yamanaka sensed an opportunity, but, I mean, what do you think?
The door wasn't open. You can't just open the door, you know what I mean? You can't just smash it open like that. So I reckon that would be a slam dunk for Yamanaka. Very typical what we see of him. The aggression's there. Look at his rear tyres, almost completely dead. In fact, Lopez has dropped right off now the back of Miyazono. They have to pit this time by surely. They do. Miyazono and Koke Lopez are now. What they go for next is going to be really important for this race. What tyre are they going to pick? We've got Miyazono in, Koke Lopez in, still waiting for confirmation of the tyres. Estroza in as well. He's gone onto the soft. Miyazono on the soft, so three-stop strategy for Miezono. Coco Lopez still waiting for his tyre confirmation. He's gone for the medium, so we're seeing now a divergence in strategy here.
Miezono's doing that classic Miezono strat. Do you remember when we were, I think it was back in New York a couple of years ago, and we thought, hang on a minute, that strategy's never going to work, and he managed to pull it off. Let's see whether it will work out here for Takuma then. I was talking to Valerio Gallo before the start of this race and just said, what's your strategy? He said, the thing is, Yamanaka picks up a 3-second penalty there, but just going back to that thought, yeah, Gallo was saying basically that if you want to run a quick race, you need to do 2 soft stints on it, effectively back-to-back, then go into the mediums, then the hards for as short as possible distance, and just hope that you can build out enough of a gap being on that soft tyre compared to those around you. So it is now or never here for Tomoaki Yamanaka.
The thing is, so the 2-stop strategy is viable, and it is a good strategy around here, but with the 3-stop, I think it is slightly faster, but your race has to be absolutely perfect. You can't make a single mistake, you can't get caught up in traffic, and very interestingly, Lopez has fallen 1.3 seconds behind Miezono, which means he's out that drafting range. So Miezono now is going to try and put away. Of course, the tyre difference is going to help that as well. Now, Inestrosa is going to be the one to watch. He's on that softer compounder tyre. He's going to put up to the back of Coco Lopez. I say luckily, he's got about a 6-second gap, so he can drive into that gap. That's what you want in the middle stint, really. Just better drive into that gap, use the tyre to its best ability, get all the time out of it, and then when it comes to changing it, hopefully, there's no one in front of you there as well.
If there's anything you can hope for after a pit stop, it is a bit of clear air. My apologies, by the way. I said it was Yamanaka that's got it all to do. Of course, it is Miezono on that 3-stop strategy, and he is the driver who has got a lot of work to do. 7 seconds to the deficit of Yamanaka, who is in 3rd place at the moment. On board we ride here with Igor Fraga, now on the medium compound tyre. Of course, started the race on that one, hasn't blinked yet, hasn't made his first pit stop from this one.
I think Fraga's going for a longer stint on the medium, so he can then double on the soft and then do 1 lap on that harder compounder tyres. That's, I think, a safer strategy. It might not be quite as quick in terms of the actual race pace, but in terms of tyre wear at the end, we saw what happened to Coco Lopez on a difficult tyre at the end there, so I think he's trying to avoid that.
Yeah, once you get yourself onto the sort of 20% barrier, as we said, tyres really do start getting quite past their best. So it's all sort of beginning to settle down now in the mid-stages of this race, as it often does here, and it will come to a proper crescendo right at the very end of this one. On board we ride here with Igor Fraga. 1.6 seconds back is Baptiste Beauvoir, who's had something of an anonymous race here at this stage. We've seen him, of course, closing up onto the back of Adriano Carrazza earlier on, and Igor Fraga, etc., inside the top 5, but we haven't seen him featuring too heavily at this particular point. Let's see whether he can try and make something of this one. You can see his tyres relative to those around him on the mediums. The rears have got a little bit more life left in them, especially compared to Igor Fraga, and also a little bit more front tyre left there as well. So maybe Beauvoir's going to try and get the overcut, the leapfrog Fraga here, but I think, again, he's probably going to be a bit too far away. 1.5 seconds is the gap between the two.
Fraga then opted to come into the pit lane and get rid of those medium tyres. Doesn't want to go down any further on the tyre wear. Where will he go, though? What set of tyres will he bolt on next? That gives Baptiste Beauvoir lead. Igor Fraga opts to go onto the hard compound of Michelin tyre there. I mean, I guess it's going to be just 1 lap and dump him, but we'll see. Beauvoir into the Yamanaka's 2nd there after serving that 3-second penalty. Miezono in 3rd. He has stopped, though. The 2 cars in front have not. So he's only 7 seconds off the lead with an extra pit stop. So see there, Fraga just geeing himself up. So can't make, you're doing a good job here. It's good sometimes just to have that little breather in the pit lane, get your head back into the space and then get back out onto circuit.
Baptiste needs a heck of an in-lap now if he's going to come into box this time around. He's on the medium tyres. We know Fraga, 3-second penalty. What's happened there for Fraga? Was it cutting the pit entry line on the way in? Oh, that's such a shame for Igor Fraga. Has he possibly thrown his chance at the championship away? We didn't quite see what that was about, but I assume that's what it must have been. And yeah, cutting the track line, I've just heard it in my ears from the race direction. And 3 seconds for Igor Fraga. Well, that does give Baptiste Beauvoir that position for sure, but it also ruins Fraga's race.
Does ruin Fraga's race, but it releases Valerio Gallo straight away, which is what he wanted. He won't get a draft down the straight here, but Fraga there with a 3-second penalty. We've seen this a few times over the course of this competition. The drivers are told very clearly, do not cut the solid white line coming into the pit lane. You will be given a big penalty, and Fraga there just a little bit too aggressive on the way in, crossed the line and is now behind Carrazza and on the hard compounder tyre. So Igor's got a lot to do now, because that isn't a 3-second penalty, that's more like a 5 or 6 second penalty, given you have to get back up to speed again. Beauvoir into the pits as well now, as is Yamanaka. So this will be really interesting to see where everyone is once they come out of the pit lane.
Everybody else has, I beg your pardon, I'll put my teeth back in. Everybody has now made at least one pit stop in this race. Takuma Miyazono then takes over at the front of this one, followed by Koke Lopez, followed by Angel Inestrosa, whereas Baptiste and Yamanaka to emerge. Gallo comes into the pits off the medium tyres onto the soft compound there as well. So that's a relatively short sort of middle stint there for Valerio. I think, again, he's going to try and bolt on those soft tyres and go for as long as he possibly can on them for the middle part of this race.
Has he used the hard tyre yet or not? I'm not sure. I haven't seen. We'll have to...
I think he was one of the runners who started on the mediums, if memory serves. Mind you, he was at the back, wasn't he? He was on the hard tyres, wasn't he? Let's see what happened here to Fraga. So it was on the pit entry. And let's have a look. Yeah, he cut. There you go, team radio.
White line cut.
I mean, it was fairly obvious, that one. That was a very, very late pit entry, and Igor's done some real-life driving. He knows better than that. But interestingly, Baptiste Beauvoir also with a penalty. Another 3-second penalty, I think, for Baptiste. The same penalty there for Baptiste. And that puts him actually, funnily enough, back with Igor Fraga and Yamanaka. So all these drivers have served 3-second penalties and they're all back together again. This is great if you are Carrazza, Inestrosa, Lopez or Miyazono, because your midfield rivals have now just fallen away. 3 seconds in this sort of competition is massive.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad for Valerio. Oh, big moment there for Yamanaka in front. He kept it facing in a straight line, but he got too much oversteer on the end of the corner. He's really struggling here. Something's going on for Tomoaki Yamanaka. He drops down behind Fraga. He drops down behind Baptiste Beauvoir. Huge drama for the Japanese driver. Here comes Baptiste then. He's ready to try and pick up the pieces here and take advantage with Igor Fraga as well as they come through in towards the first corner. Let's see how this battle emerges. Both these runners on the hard tyres. Here comes Beauvoir diving to the inside line. Then as they come down the start finish straight, Beauvoir versus Fraga. Who's going to get later on the brakes? Beauvoir's got track position. He's got 5th place there as well as Yamanaka pits.
Beauvoir up into 5th place after a little bit of confusion in the middle sector. Yamanaka comes in to bolt on the soft, so hoping for a better stint there, I think. I'm really interested to see the gap with Inestrosa and Lopez is down to 3 tenths per second now. So Lopez is now under fire from Inestrosa for 2nd place. So Fraga over behind Beauvoir, both on that hard compound. There it is, Inestrosa goes to the inside of Koke Lopez, just as we say it. Up the inside goes Angel Inestrosa into P2. He's now 6 seconds behind Miyazono at the moment, but of course Miyazono has only used soft tyres so far, so that is the more fights going on. So we'll come back in a second. Fraga and Benelli are now side by side. Remember, Benelli has pitted twice already, so he's pitted one more time than Fraga, and he's right with these two. He's with Fraga, he's with Beauvoir, he's on the soft compound tyre. Up the inside he goes with Igor Fraga, and in pursuit now. Look at the traction difference through there. He's able to put the car just exactly where he wants it. He's now right behind Baptiste Beauvoir, and all Beauvoir can do really is wait and try and let him through in the best place possible.
Yeah, this is going to be a formality. Benelli there still getting a little bit slidey coming out of the left-hander. Through the tunnel they go, and this is going to be a bit of a formality, unfortunately, here for Baptiste Beauvoir. He's going to feel like Christmas has come a day early and he's arrived a day late. So let's see what works out here for Benelli and when Beauvoir will let him through. He's going to have the advantage, of course, of the slipstream here for Lucas Benelli. Beauvoir's not going to have much of an answer to it. He tries to hold on to that position as best as he can, but Benelli will have more grip under braking and does indeed go up through into 5th place. I have to say, though, just having a look at the live points rankings here, Jimmy, Miyazono versus Inestrosa, they're 1st and 2nd in the race. They will finish 1st and 2nd in the championship at the moment by just 1 point. So if it comes down to it, at the end of this race, this Miyazono versus Inestrosa, it's winner takes all stakes.
Yeah, and you can see now that sort of lit a fire under Angel Inestrosa, who's actually started to catch Miyazono. He's lapping a bit quicker than the 2020 Nations Cup champion. We know Miyazono's under pressure, but Angel this year, he's just stepped up his game a little bit. We know he's always been quick, but now he's at a level where he's challenging for the Nations Cup here in 2022. No further action between Beauvoir and Yamanaka, to be honest. I think that's fair. It was just a bit of a racing incident. But Beauvoir now in 6th place. There's an interesting middle group here. All of them had weird penalties, all of them had problems as well. We'll have to see how this pans out as we go. And a reminder, the driver with most points will be the champion. I mean, yeah, that's how championships work.
Yes, well, plain and simple there from Jimmy Broadbent. Anyway, next up we're going to do a maths lesson, I think. Let's have another look, shall we, at Yamanaka here. I think we're going to get a bit of a reaction from him afterwards and see if we can piece together what happened. So he's going through the left hand, a bit of understeer. He's going to get, I think, a little bit of a slide on Tank Slammer. Kept it facing in the right direction, thankfully there for him. Let's have a look at his reaction. No emotion at all there from him. I think he was just trying to keep it on the straight and narrow and not interrupt anybody else's race.
From my point of view there, he just tapped the marbles on the way in and then had no traction as he pulled away there. That's my takeaway from that. So, back to 6th place with Beauvoir and Fraga still fighting right now. Fraga, of course, and Beauvoir both getting penalties for cutting the track. Serrano coming back into the pits. Is that for another set of softs? So I know it's his second set. At least second set of softs, but he's been trying something very different. This is his 3rd stop.
Yeah, this is his second set of softs. He started on the hard compound tyres, did Jose Serrano, because he was right towards the back. So everybody from 8th position downwards were on the hard compound tyres, and Jose Serrano was one of those drivers. I have to say, Igor Fraga, he's just stuck behind Baptiste Beauvoir at the moment. He's going to be so disappointed, and you can see just how different it is, how difficult it is to get onto the power coming out of those sort of medium speed corners. And when you have a snap of oversteer like that, I mean, look at how much it's costing him. Even with the toe in front of him, he's still losing 3 or 4 car lengths.
I don't think he's stuck behind Beauvoir. I think Beauvoir's outpacing him at the moment. He hasn't got an answer for the Frenchman. I think he's got inside his own head a little bit, has Igor, after that pit entry penalty. Very easy for that to happen. I've been in that situation. It does put a dampener on the charge, especially if you're feeling good that day. But for his middle sector, you know, this is where Igor shines, this technical stuff. He is able to pull back into the gap again, but everywhere else, not so much. You can see there, last lap times, the 2 soft runs at the front, pretty much identical on lap time. Coco Lopez still putting in quite a respectable time on that medium.
Yeah, not bad at all there for Coco Lopez. I wonder whether this race is going to come to him in the latter stages. We're over half distance now, then here we ride on board with Igor Fraga. Baptiste Beauvoir in front, and Fraga lifting off the throttle there, just wanting to sit behind Baptiste for the time being. So I don't think he's stuck behind Baptiste as it looks for now, but he just doesn't want to let it get past him. Maybe he just wants to use the advantage of that toe, and maybe they can work together and then splinter off a bit later, perhaps.
This race is fascinating in terms of strategy. It's why I love this race. It's a bit of a replay here. This Jose Serrano. What happened here with Jose Serrano? He's just pitted for a fresh set of softs. He didn't do what Monaco did. Coming through the middle sector now, he's behind. Oh yeah, he just. Oh no! Jose Serrano there. I've just watched the Spanish commentators just put their head in their hands, and that is such an easy mistake to make. These cars have nearly 900 brake horsepower at the rear wheels. If you gun it like that, and a penalty to boot as well, so that pretty much, I think, put Jose Serrano out of contention for that. What a shame. It was a good recovery until then.
Yeah, big disappointment for Jose Serrano. Better luck next time out. Look at the tyre wear there for Miyazono and Inestrosa. Those rear tyres are very much looking second-hand now. They're going to have to come in surely on the next lap. I wonder if they're going to try and follow each other through, or what their strategy is going to be here. You can see here everybody watching on down here in Monaco. Lots of tension, lots of anticipation in the air at the moment. It is advantage to Kuma Miyazono. He would be crowned the champion by just 1 singular point over Angel Inestrosa, but there's still plenty of time as Carrazza comes in from the soft tyres for his second stop.
So last lap, Coco Lopez at exactly the same time as Inestrosa and Miyazono. So that soft tyre is now dead. They need to get in as soon as possible. Carrazza doing that, comes in with the softer compounded tyres. Another set for him as well. So free stop, I think, is the way to go here. I remember asking in our briefing, is a free stop going to happen? And they're like, nah, unlikely. He's like, nope, it's definitely going to happen. In comes Carrazza. So you see it into the pit box there. Another set of the soft Michelin tyres for him. And again, another chance for that. Carrazza's driven a good race so far. He's been very clean, very tidy, where others have faltered. And now we need to really nail this next stint. We aren't really going to know where everyone is until we get to the last few laps. So this is why I say it's fascinating. Is trying to work this out is very, very complicated.
We're going to have a lot of last lap pit stops here as well, because a lot of people have gone for the soft tyres in their first or middle stint of the race. And of course, when they're free stopping, they still owe that hard compound tyre. Pretty much everybody in the top 2, wasn't it, the start of the soft tyre, and then everybody else down to 8th was on the mediums.
Well, the fastest person on track right now is Valerio Gallo at the moment in 7th place. He might not be there in terms of position, but he's running a very, very fast race at the moment. So again, once the stops will come in, he is, well, I say leader of the 2 stops, he's not. That is Benelli, but Gallo has taken the hard tyre.
Inestrosa opting for a different strategy here to Miyazono. So they were first and second. Miyazono goes onto the mediums, Inestrosa onto the hard tyres. So this is where this divergence in strategy is going to work out between these 2 drivers, and let's see how it plays out in the closing stages. So 12 laps to go then here. I imagine Inestrosa's probably going to want to run those medium tyres, sorry, the hard tyres I should say, for as short as possible. So maybe he'll just do one and done, come into the pits at the end of the next lap, and then stick to the mediums on towards the end.
Let's see where he comes out, because I was thinking maybe it'd be a good idea to come out on the hard tyre, get in someone's way, and then come back into the box again.
This is going to be fascinating, isn't it? So Miyazano emerges on the medium tyres. He'll run these for a little while longer. You can see there, of course, Miyazano finished first in the top 12 qualifier. He started this race on pole position. Coque Lopez, of course, was just 1,000th of a second away. Angel Inestrosa with a very interesting middle stint in this race. The good thing here for Angel is he's come out in a bit of clear air. Of course, he's on the hard compound tyre relative to those around him as well. Behind him is Beauvoir and Fraga, both on the hard set. You can see, of course, it does upset the live points rankings. It would mean that Coque Lopez would now be crowned the champion by some 3 points, but of course we've still got a lot of strategy and pit stops to play out in the last 11 laps of this race. This is absolutely wonderful. What a great strategic decision this is going to be, and I'm sure it's going to come down to this. Meanwhile, here we go with Valerio Gallo versus Igor Fraga. Gallo, of course, on the soft compound tyres. Easy pickings there for the Italian driver is Igor Fraga, and he goes through into 5th place as the Italian. So the reigning champion making forward progress. Next target, the hard shot, Baptiste Beauvoir in 4th.
There has never been a double Nations Cup champion. It's always been a different driver each time. We have almost every 3 of the 4 Nations Cup champions in this race. Mick, of course, not really racing as much anymore, but what a victory it would be for someone like Coque Lopez, who's never quite been there before, to take the Nations Cup championship here today. Not quite there at the moment, still 11 laps left to go. Beauvoir in front of us is Valerio Gallo. Gallo is wasting absolutely no time. Through he goes then on Baptiste Beauvoir. Now he does have a tyre advantage over Benelli as well. Benelli was the other driver who was on a similar strategy to him, but now he's moved on to that medium tyre. All Gallo's got to do is run the soft to the end. He has got to pit one more time, but he can go onto that soft compounder tyre and run that to the end.
That is going to be like Christmas for him, those soft tyres. Everybody loves the soft tyres. They're not such a big fan of the hard tyres. You can see there, of course, Valerio Gallo, 2021 Nations Cup World Champion. Is it possible for him to do the double? It's a heck of a tall order. He's quite far back, even after sitting up in 4th in the standings. He would need to get an overall win and hope that those around him have a bit of misfortune. There's still plenty of opportunity for that. I have to say the man that we need to keep a close eye on is Angel Inestrosa. I think he's now on his 2nd lap on those hard tyres, so I wonder what kind of strategy he's going for. I thought if he did it on the hard tyres in the middle stint, he'd be one and done and then stick another set of tyres on to go to the end.
He needed to do one more lap really on the medium stint. He didn't do that, so I think that he'll be boxing very soon for that set of soft, maybe end of this lap to come in and then take those soft to the end. They will be worn at the end, but it's what he needs to do. A leader into the pits. Coque Lopez comes in on the medium compound tyre. He has to use a hard compound at some point. He's one of the only drivers not to do that yet. He goes into the soft, so it's going to be a last lap defence attempt there from Coque Lopez. He's now going to go to lap 29. Box in right at the last second and go onto that hard compound. Miyazano goes back up into the lead. I think we'll wait and see where the Coque Lopez comes out, but Miyazano goes through there. That strategy did diverge, so I do expect Miyazano to be a few seconds in the lead, I think. But Lopez now still running strong, and Inestrosa does another lap on those hard tyres.
So then, this is going to be really interesting. Beauvoir, Fraga also into the pit lanes from the hards to the soft compound tyres for both of those 2 drivers. Coming through into the right-hander, Inestrosa in front of Coque Lopez, so it's worked out quite nicely here for Inestrosa. But how long can he keep the Spaniard at bay? Because, of course, Coque is on the soft compound tyres. He's going to have so much more grip underneath him, and it's only going to be a matter of time before he can find his way through. He needs to find his way past as soon as he possibly can. There's an opportunity. Bang! Up the inside into the right-hander. Lopez now clear air in front of him.
That was really important. Get that done as soon as possible. Though maybe I might have waited for the slipstream on the way by. It might have been a bit more beneficial, but it was still a tricky place for Lopez to come across Inestrosa. He goes defensive. He says, I don't want to fight with you. Inestrosa doesn't really want to fight either. He knows that Lopez has the better speed, but he wants to race in line. He wants to be able to use that on his hard compounder tyre. Now, any time he can take out a Lopez is great, but they have to think about the bigger picture. They've got to think about Miyazano. He's the car up ahead. They've got a match on that time. And I will be very surprised if we don't see Inestrosa boxing at the end of this lap.
I wonder what Inestrosa's strategy is going to work out like. As I say, I think he might have just gone a little bit too long on this hard compounder tyre. It's going to be interesting at the moment. If the checkered flag fell, it would be Inestrosa who sits in 2nd in the championship, tied with Coque Lopez. And you see Inestrosa does come into the pit lane then at the end of lap 21 on to another set of tyres, the soft tyres then for the final stint in his race.
Now Gallo follows him in. Now bear in mind they started far apart. Gallo's only 3 seconds behind Inestrosa now. So Gallo has come flying through the field. An amazing strategy there by Valerio Gallo. He's still got work to do on this last stint, but we know, put the bit between his teeth and he will fly up that field. So now we're starting to get into the last parts of strategy now. This now becomes a sprint race, a sprint to the end here in the 2022 World Finals of the Nation Cup. We have many cars in the pits. Inestrosa in, Gallo in, Yamanaka in, Suzuki in, Kokibun in, Inestrosa on that soft tyre. Let's see what he can do. Miyazono still needs to stop. Miyazono still owes the hard tyre, as does Koke Lopez.
So then, Miyazono running good pace, though, at the front of this race on that medium compound of tyre. Of course, as we know, he still owes that other pit stop then in this one. And here is Baptiste Beauvoir as we look at him in 7th place. Just up the road is Valerio Gallo. Just behind him is Igor Fraga, who is just 0.8 of a second away. So definitely within slipstreaming range. Behind them is Jose Serrano, who, of course, as we know, has been in the wars so far in this one then. And as we come through onto this back straight, we'll see the effect of the slipstream. Good thing here for Takuma is he's got a bit of clear track. Likewise for Koke Lopez as well. Just stuck a set of soft boots on his car, and he's got enough time to just sit there, not worry too much about how things are going to go, and just run his own race for the time being.
Inestrosa's got only about a 3-second gap ahead of him here to drive into before he's going to encounter Benelli. Benelli doesn't need to owe any more tyres, so Benelli, I think, is going to go to the end on that medium compound of tyre, so he's going to have to overtake Benelli on circuit, which is going to cost him. Miyazono, though, no such problems for him out front at the moment. I'm trying to work out what his strategy is going to be. I guess he's going to go to the end on these mediums and pit onto the soft at the last second. Whether that's going to be the right strategy or not, I don't know.
It's going to be a time will tell sort of situation. You can see the crowd here watching on in Monaco. We've got in-game Sarah, of course, here as well. We saw her earlier on when she was announcing the 25th anniversary GT7 campaign. Serrano's into the pits. He's going from soft to soft then here. So the 3-stop strategy is one that is playing out, completely contrary to what the information we received at the start of this race.
Right now, Lopez is a second lap quicker than Miyazono. 8 seconds left, the gap. Miyazono does have to pit, as does Koke Lopez. So it's looking like Koke might get there, and they're both going to have to pit for the hard tyre, and it might be between them at the end. Karatsa's doing a good job as well. He's still in contention at the moment. I don't know what Karatsa owes right now in terms of time. We haven't got that information in front of us, unfortunately. But Igor Fraga probably ruined that mistake earlier and had to take a 3-second penalty for an illegal pit entrance, crossing the white line on the way in. But still behind Baptiste Beauvoir for now.
Just to remind you, double points on offer here for this race. 24 points it is for the race win. I can't tell you the tyre strategy. Adriano Karatsa started the race on racing mediums. He's then gone on to the softs. He's now on the softs. He still owes the hard tyre there in 3rd place as well. In terms of Miyazono, he started on the softs. He did another stint on the soft. He's now on the medium, so he owes the hard tyre. And likewise, Koke Lopez there in 2nd position too.
Inestrosa now right onto the back of Benelli. 7/10 is the gap for 4th and 5th position, and he has the tyre advantage, so he's going to put up to the back of Benelli, but he's going to want to try and get by quickly, and that's why in the background Valerio Gallo is there and hunting, and he has gained on Inestrosa, only by about 0.3 of a second, but that is still gaining, and every moment that Inestrosa is stuck behind Benelli is going to be time lost to the cars in front. It's starting to look more and more like this is going the way of Miyazono and Lopez. Between them, it's hard to call. But right now, Inestrosa needs to dispatch Benelli as quick as possible. In fact, I think he might get him on the straight here, might get a bit of a slingshot, so this might go perfect for Inestrosa. What's the difference on the way into the corner? That soft tyre just affords you so much more grip. And now it's the long, long drag down the back straight.
The good news is here for Angel Inestrosa is relative to Karatsa, who's a couple of places up the road. He has got newer soft tyres on, but here we are side by side with Inestrosa versus Benelli then. This is surely going to be a bit of a formality as we come in towards the right-hander. Inestrosa on the inside, and Benelli doesn't hold him up too much there, so no point really getting involved in the battle that's not going to have too much of a bearing on his race, and of course he doesn't have much of an answer anyway on that medium compound of tyre. But as I was saying, Inestrosa on the racing soft, they're only a couple of laps old. Compare that to Karatsa's, which is 6 laps old. They're going to wear out a hell of a lot quicker, and as we know, when they do fall off of the cliff, they are going to be next to useless. So I wonder whether that might be a bit of a masterstroke for Inestrosa, but I don't think it's going to be enough for him to try and claim that crown, given the relative pace of Miyazono and Lopez.
Baptiste Beauvoir is out of the race. Baptiste Beauvoir out of the race. So disaster for the Frenchman there. What a real shame for Baptiste. He still had pace there, but unfortunately will go no further in this race. Now, last lap, Koke Lopez set the fastest lap of the race, so 1:27.4. He's now only 4 seconds behind Takuma Miyazono and catching rapidly. If Koke Lopez can overhaul Miyazono, it's going to be a straight fight to the line on that hard compounder tyre. So This could still go the way of Koke Lopez if he keeps putting in these lap times. Last time round, Miyazono made a mistake. He did a 1:30.3. That's allowed Lopez to catch right up again. That one mistake could be the deciding factor here today in the Nations Cup final.
It is going to be possibly winner takes all stakes then between Miyazono and Lopez, between the top two. I don't think Illustrosas, as I say, is going to have much of a bearing on this race as we ride on board here with Valerio Gallo. Just up the road there is Lucas Benelli. Benelli, of course, on the medium tyres, Gallo on the soft compound of tyres as they flick it through into the left and the right. You can see how much more grip Gallo has got underneath him. It's been such a shame here for the Italian driver. He'll be ruining the fact that he didn't carry as many points as he wanted to coming into the World Finals here in Monaco. He's had a tricky season so far, and it's really cost him very dearly because, of course, right when it matters, especially here in the Grand Final, it is not paying dividends for him. He's now going to have to try and salvage what he can from this race. He's got the slipstream in front of Lucas Benelli. He's going to pull to the inside here. Benelli has a sort of wiggle on the straight as they come towards the first corner. Side by side we go. Gallo goes through into P5.
I've got to go there, yeah, good move there from Valerio Gallo. Now, the person that's on his strategy is Illustrosas in front, who is 2 seconds behind. He's not quite out of it, I don't think, Tom, if he can just keep this pace going. Koke Lopez is now within 3 seconds of Takuma Miyazono at the front of the field. Now, it's basically whoever wins. If Miyazono wins, he becomes champion. If Koke Lopez wins this race, he becomes champion. There it is. Valerio Gallo actually setting the fastest lap of the race today. I think he heard you, Tom. I think he heard you say, I think he heard you talking smack, and he was straight back on that again, but Lopez is charging. And all you can do as Miyazono now is just try and be as quick as possible, as neat as possible. Look how quickly that gap is coming down, 2.4 seconds. This could be Koke Lopez's race.
Let's see what happens then as he comes to the start-finish line then. So 4 laps, soon to become 3 at the end of this one. As we cross the timing line then here at Trial Mountain Reverse. This is the Nations Cup Grand Final. Winner takes all stakes between the top two. They both load the hard compound of tyre. They've got to make one more pit stop. Carranza comes in from 3rd place. He goes from the softs to the hards for his last stint in this race.
I have never seen Koke drive this. He can taste it. He can taste it. It's there for him. All he's got to do is keep this pace up, and he's got it. The tyres are looking all right. The tyres are looking okay. They can go a few more laps. They can go until that hard tyre is over. But what can Illustrosas do? What can Gallo do? Can they keep the pace up? Carranza said he's on the hard tyre now. That's his last stop done. We'll keep an eye on where he pans out in this situation. The gap down to 1.7 seconds. It's only going to be a matter of 2 laps, I think, Tom, before he's there, and he's passed.
Well, this is going to be...
There's Miyazono.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's now within striking distance. He's got that carrot dangled in front of him. He can see him now, and that's going to be all the impetus that Koke Lopez now needs to try and challenge for this race lead between Takuma Miyazono and Koke Lopez. Just to remind you, they do still owe that one pit stop, which they're probably going to make on the final lap of this race. They're going to do a one and done to the checkered flag, so it could come down to a overtake before that, which separates them or decides the title here, because whoever emerges from the pit stop could be crowned as the champion.
God, my heart is beating, Tom. What a finale this is to our 2022 Nations Cup Championship. Koke Lopez reeling in to Takuma Miyazono. 1 second now is the gap. They've still got tyres in. They've both got to stop once more for the hard compound. But this is going to decide, I think, the results for this race. So now, coming through this first sector, look how much more grip Koke Lopez. I can see the Spanish commentators standing now. They're winning on their countryman, and now the gap is 9/10 of a second. Come on, Koke.
This is surely going to be about this hairpin bend and the run down into the corner which follows, because if he can use the slipstream, which he's definitely within that range now, he's closing corner by corner. This is surely going to be the move for the race lead and possibly for the championship here for Koke Lopez. So through into the right hand we go. He needs a nice clean exit out of this corner, and this will be the opportunity that Koke Lopez has got. It's the first chance to strike against Takuma Miyazono. The Japanese driver knows that. He goes for the defensive line down this straight, but I think it's all going to be in vain. Look at the slipstream. Look at how he's being pulled along by that toe. And Takuma Miyazono, is he going to be defenceless in his challenge to hold on to that race lead when he holds on to it for the time being?
He's going to be patient here. He needs to go for a line. He's gone for the move. He's gone for the move when he's past Miyazono. Miyazono, he opened the door, and Koke Lopez dove through it. You know, I think that was all right. I think that was okay. The door was open, Lopez went in, and if the point standings now were to end, he would be champion. But now it's this lap, and it's down to the stewards. This will be investigated. He's put his hand up there, I think, just to say sorry, didn't mean to. But now it's a run to the end. Now Miyazono, he's going to go for a lunge here. You know he's going to go for it. He has to. He has no choice. Lopez needs to defend this with his life.
So down to the first corner we go. Miyazono on the outside, Lopez then on the inside. I don't think Miyazono's going to have enough of an answer on the braking zone. He runs it a bit hot into turn one. That's going to compromise his exit out of turn two because the corner is a little bit shallower. Really smooth on the power there. No wheel spin, but he's still able to drive away using the supreme traction of those soft compact tyres. They're going to pit at the end of this lap for the start of the final lap of this race. At the moment, it is advantage Koke Lopez, and he will be crowned the champion.
Now, it's this sector that is everything for Koke. He needs to try and put a good gap, have a good exit coming out of here, because Miyazono is going to have the same advantage Koke has on the way up the straight here. He's now going to have the toe. So what is the gap coming out of here? 7/10 second. He immediately weaves to the right-hand side, tries to break the toe. Koke Lopez needs to be supreme through the last part of this lap now. He needs to be able to do this now. Watch Angela and the Stroza behind as well. Watch him once they pit him. We'll see the gaps once they're done. Koke Lopez still ahead of Miyazono. Through here, he will have an advantage. He needs to press it. He needs to push on hard now. Get that gap up to about a second, then he could be home free. But all is not decided yet as we come on almost to the last lap of the race.
So then, let's see what's going to happen here, because Angel Stroza is only 22 seconds back, and he could definitely be a bit of a cat amongst the pigeons here as we come down this back straight then. So, in towards the right-hander. It is going to be really interesting. A 19-second pit loss time is what we're expecting it to be. He's 22 seconds at the moment, so he's okay. Into the pits we go for the final lap time. So, here we are then. Koke Lopez onto the hards. Takuma Miyazono onto the hards. Here's Stroza, 22 seconds back.
Yeah, watch Angel now. I'd love to see his onboard. We're going to see what the race is now. On board with Angel Stroza. Has he done enough? I don't think he has. We're now with the Chilean driver for the last part of that, completely flat through this section. Look ahead. We need to see where Miyazono and where Koke Lopez is. We won't know until we get through this first corner. In they come. In comes Koke Lopez, our leader, onto the hard compound tyre. Miyazono just behind him. Gallo, of course, with us as well. We'll wait for the pit exit. Here's Stroza. Where are they? Where are they? They're ahead. Koke Lopez is out of just about ahead of Stroza, I think. Here they come up to speed. Where is? There he is! Stroza. He's up into P2. Here's could be Stroza's race on the soft compound tyre. Oh no, he's sideways. He's sideways down the bottom there.
He just about manages to keep it facing in a straight line then, so it's three drivers all battling. We need some live point standings on the screen at the moment because this is too close to call. And look at Imi Lopez versus Stroza time. It is still winner takes all stakes here as we come down the back straight then. Stroza's race to lose. Koke Lopez is racing the lead, but can he hold on to it to the checkered flag?
So here we are then for the mid-sector. This is where Stroza's going to have a fantastic advantage. His rear tyres are gone, but he's going to go for the move. He's going to try the outside here. Can Koke Lopez on? Stroza's going to run the outside. There's contact between the two. Stroza's that one. Miyazono back up into second. He's having a try. He's having a look, but he can't quite make it work. Oh, he's at the inside. Oh, no, he's down. Stroza's in the lead. Stroza. Miyazono round on Koke Lopez second, but Stroza goes to the lead.
Stroza takes the lead then. Takuma Miyazono's out of contention for the world title. Contact as Lopez up the inside. Who's going to take this one then? Lopez goes through. At the moment, he will be crowned as the world champion of 2022. Here we go then to the line. Koke Lopez surely has got this one. He wins the grand final for the Nations Cup and becomes the 2022 Nations Cup world champion. Or does he? Because the incident is under investigation between Lopez and Stroza and Miyazono. Goodness me, what a dramatic end to that race. Lopez, Miyazono, Stroza, a dramatic finale. Well, at the moment, it is Lopez who takes the win. No doubt about that, but is he going to be the 2022 champion? We're going to have to wait and find out. What a dramatic final lap.
Lopez wins it on the road here at Monaco, but under investigation. It was very, very, very messy in that middle sector. We didn't really see who hit who, but it resulted in Miyazono spinning. It resulted in Stroza in the lead. Then Lopez absolutely lunged one up the inside, bashed him out of the way, and took the place. They see Miyazono there just sitting in disbelief, and I can't blame him, Tom.
That was such a disappointing end to the race for Takuma Miyazono. We need to have another look at some replays following that incident because it was dramatic. And I think Takuma, well, he looks like he's won the lottery and lost the ticket, doesn't he? That's such a shame for the Japanese driver to end the race in such circumstances. The 2020 champion, he had a chance of becoming a double world champion. At the moment, we don't know who that is. Is it going to be Koke Lopez? Is it going to be Angel Stroza? Could it possibly be neither of them? Could it be Takuma Miyazono, depending on what these stewards award? Miyazono came over the timing line in third place.
Well, it's good to see there's no love lost there. You know, they're both said, you know what, I would have done the same, but it doesn't really matter. This is going to be another decision here that is going to be decided by our stewards. The stewards right now are probably the most pressured people in this room. They're the ones that are going to decide who wins the Nations Cup, and we're all waiting around, all waiting for a decision.
Takuma Miyazono, such disappointment also for Valerio Gallo as well. We just saw him looking very dejected up on the stage. I think he's just so disappointed about how that race has worked out, and hopefully we'll have a bit of an answer soon. Jimmy, you just showed me your hand. You're shaking with adrenaline.
I know, that was buzzing for that, but anyway, let's have a look at this incident. Let's try and unpack what happened. Obviously, we're not stewards here, but we'll give it our best shot. So this is the worst angle we could have seen for that.
So Lopez is wide. Lopez goes wide. Miyazono's up the inside. Inestrosa's in there as well. I think there's a bit of contact between Inestrosa and Miyazono. Then look at this. So Inestrosa's in the lead here. Lopez goes for the lunge. So that just shows us a replay of the back end of that incident there. And you can see the dejection also for Takuma Miyazono. I was really hoping we might have another look at that lunge between Inestrosa and Lopez, but sadly not to be at the moment. You're right down there.
Water down. Yeah, it's hard to tell. As you see, results under investigation. For me, the bigger issue was that second move, Koke. I think basically Inestrosa's rear tyres were gone. We could see that. He couldn't quite get out of the corner. And Koke went, you know what? And went into the gap and just knocked him wide. And that, as a result, is why he got to the line first. The first incident, just to me, seemed like 3 cars going for the same bit of tarmac. I'd go as far as saying racing incident. In my opinion, I'm not a steward, and this is not the final result. I think that is Inestrosa's win.
Well, let's see what the stewards do decide. You can see just, well, a bit of emotion pouring out here on the stage in Monaco, and so difficult to tell. You can see there is Koke Lopez, and, well, he doesn't know what to make of it, just talking with Nikita Moisov up there on stage, and you can see here a very dejected Takuma Miyazono as well.
That's the most I've ever seen out of him. He tends to be quite stalwart, but you can tell how much it means to him. You can see now drivers getting together, all in the same boat, all wondering, you know, who's won this, and we're still waiting investigation. If you just joined us, the dramatic end to the Nations Cup final here, results under investigation. Your 3 characters here are Angel Inestrosa, Koke Lopez and Takuma Miyazono. Yeah, this is a stressful time for all of us.
Let's have a look, shall we, at the full highlights of that race and just piece together exactly what happened. Emotions very high here in Monaco. But of course, it was a rolling start to the race. Takuma Miyazono started on pole position, followed by Koke Lopez. We saw Yamanaka and Igor Fraga getting pretty feisty in the opening stages. Then Lopez went through on Takuma Miyazono for the race lead at the end of the first lap, as we saw the hard shot runners beginning to come in to the pit lane. Here we go with Karatsa. Then this is versus Tomoaki Yamanaka, who had a bit of a difficult day at the office. Here comes Miyazono then going for the race lead against Koke Lopez a little bit later on. Karatsa got turned around, unfortunately. A disappointment there for the Brazilian driver. You can see a penalty being awarded to Yamanaka following that collision as Miyazono pitted for the soft tyres. We weren't expecting a 3-stop strategy. That's not what we were told we were supposed to look for at the start of this race. Igor Fraga, though, picked up a penalty for his part in it, but 3-stop strategies were the order of the day. 3-second penalty there for Igor Fraga. It threw the championship chance away for him. Then Tomoaki Yamanaka got all out of shape, ended up having a big moment into the next corner, and unfortunately ended up then getting passed by Igor Fraga.
Yeah, and there's same for Serrano there. We saw that part, so it could be very difficult for everyone. So Serrano going, oh, didn't mean to do that, but that put paid to his chances. Miyazono then came into the pits on a different strategy. We found that Angel Inestrosa was in the mix, just not on the same bit of circuit as Koke Lopez and Yamanaka. I thought he was out of it until the very end. Of course, we saw later on that was not the case. Koke Lopez then just about had the pace in that soft compound tire to catch up to the back of Takuma Miyazono, who actually made a mistake, which I think is why he's so frustrated down there. He made a mistake unforced, which is why he's in a situation at all. And then Inestrosa had to make his way back through. Here was the move on Miyazono. Bit rude, I think, but I think it's on the edge. I think the door was open.
Yeah, this is the pit stop. This is where it all came to a head, basically. The hard shot, Koke Lopez and Takuma Miyazono with the soft shot, Angel Inestrosa. Let's have another look, shall we, then? As they come down the back straight, you can see Lopez going up the inside, Miyazono there through. Inestrosa pushed out wide after a bit of contact. You can see the trees kind of masking things, and Miyazono got into the side of Inestrosa. Lopez also caught up. I think it's just 3 cars going into one there, really. This is Lopez's move on the inside of Angel Inestrosa, which got him into the lead and ultimately would, if there is no penalties awarded, would crown him as the champion. But you can see he knows what he's done, that he knows that wasn't necessarily the right thing. And Inestrosa, I think, said afterwards that, do you know what, I would have done the same thing. Fair play. However, that doesn't mean that that's the right end to the story, and we don't quite know exactly what the result is at this stage.
No, in flux. And the more I look at it, the more that Coque Lopez and Inestrosa one's a bit on the edge, the more I think maybe they'll give him it. I don't know. I just think that, you know, Inestrosa's already turned into the corner, puts the car in there, and usually that would be a penalty under what we've seen so far. But you know, again, we're not the stewards. Results are still under investigation. They have access to far more angles than we do up here in the commentary booth, and that inputs and steering angles, all that gubbins. We don't have that up here. So yeah, definitely the ones qualified to make the choice.
And the thing is, what they'll be doing also, they'll be looking at things like steering inputs, braking inputs, seeing, you know, if Angel was perhaps looking a little bit too deep into that corner already, maybe the gap was always going to be there because he was going to be understeering wide or something like that. You know, we only saw one sort of brief angle of it, so they are going to be looking at all of those different things. And I think one also thing to talk about is that we talk about the pressure, we can see the emotion there from Takuma Miyazono, clear as day. But these guys, they devote their life to these events, and it's so hard to overstate just how much this means to them.
Yeah, you think, you put your entire year into a competition, to be here, to be at Monaco, to be on this world stage, to perform that well, and have it slip away just like that at the last moment. It is soul-crushing. And I think only people who have had that sort of that passion for something will understand that pain. Like, I really, really sympathise with Miyazono down there. I know how hard it is to be on the other end of that. So, but still a good race. I think everyone drove a fantastic race.
Yeah,
they did.
I think you're absolutely right, and that's the thing, isn't it? You know, you can't discount it away. Everybody did drive a good race. It was full of drama. I mean, just talk us through some of your highlights up until that point, Jimmy, in that grand final.
I think Gallo's drive was really good for me. I mean, he started down sort of back of the field, didn't quite have the speed in qualifying. Managed to put it back though. That and also Coque Lopez. As I said, you know, no offense to Coque, but he's never really been the top of the top. And today, something just changed. Something just clicked in him, and he was just able to go toe to toe with Takuma Miyazono, who is one of the best ever Gran Turismo drivers.
Jimmy, I've just had some breaking news, and I can confirm that a result has been called. The stewards have deemed it as a racing incident on the final lap. The result will not change. Coque Lopez is crowned as the 2022 Nations Cup World Champion in the Gran Turismo World Series. Huge congratulations to Coque Lopez. Disappointment, but huge respect to Angel Inestrosa and to Takuma Miyazono. They fought valiantly, they fought as hard as they could. Coque Lopez, though, will take the crown in controversial circumstances in 2022. Of course, not everybody's going to agree that it was the right decision. That is the decision that has been made, though. Coque Lopez is crowned as the Nations Cup World Champion for this year.
So, yeah, say what you want about the decision, but that was an amazing race from Coque, and it was 100% earned. Here are confirmation then of the final results. Coque Lopez is your 2022 Nations Cup champion from Angel Inestrosa in dramatic fashion. Takuma Miyazono in third place. Igor Fraga with a good recovery for fourth, Benelli fifth, and Gallo only good enough for sixth place. But the Spanish contingent here at Monaco are absolutely elated, and everyone taking their turns to congratulate Coque Lopez on his... This is something he's been trying to do. He's been here since 2018. He's been in every major tournament, every major manufacturer series as well, and this is his first big win here. Coque Lopez in confirmation there, draws with Angel Inestrosa, but because he won the grand final, he takes the championship.
Well, there we go. Dramatic circumstances to crown our 2022 champion. It is Coque Lopez, the first time a Spaniard has won the Nations Cup world title as well. Huge congratulations to Coque. An amazing job also from Angel Inestrosa. Let's have a chat, shall we, with our world champion, Coque Lopez. He is down on the floor talking to Julia.
Coque, oh my goodness. I mean, you know, you come back. I'm lost for words. What do you have to say?
I don't even know if I can talk right now, but I'm just so happy. A bit sorry also for Angel, but I had to try last lap, last corner, last event of the year, World Championship was decided there. And also I got hit in the previous corner, so I just tried, and whatever would have been the decision, I would have accepted. And so happy to win my second World Championship in a row. First time in Nations, which is, let's say, more not important but more relevant, let's say, because it's just June. And so happy I have no words.
I mean, Koke has been around since pretty much the beginning, you know. So this is an amazing win for you, and you've been fighting for this for such a long time. How does it feel to now be in that moment?
I don't know, actually.
It's like 1 second after it, obviously.
Yeah, I was thinking even on not going on anymore. Let's say if I didn't do a good job here. Actually, I think I will go a few more years now. But yeah, of course, I want to thank all the people who support me, even when the results were bad, all the community I got from my streamings and all that. And no words.
I mean, I'm sort of a bit reticent to talk about strategy, but let's go down to, why do you think your strategy worked and beat the others?
My strategy was basically the same like Miyazono-san did. I just wait in the pit stop until I saw what tires he chose, to choose the opposite, because I really believed in my race pace from the trainings we did at home. And I think it was quite good. It was Angel with a totally different strategy, more laps on hard tire. And in the end, everything was decided in the last sector.
How's your heart rate right now?
Sorry?
How's your heart rate?
It's not too high because when we crossed the line, I didn't know what happened, so I had time to relax. But yeah, in the moment that I got told that I was winner, of course, it came again to beat so quick.
When you go home, what's the first thing you're going to do? No, who are you going to call first to tell?
First thing, thanks my mom for the tortilla. I don't know how to say in English.
No, it's this.
So yeah, for the tortilla he did the previous day we flight. Because it's funny to say, I was supposed to tell in the Spanish broadcast, but I was too tired from training. It was a previous day to the flight, and I listened to her coming home, and I took 2 eggs because you know that the food from your mom is the best always. And I took the eggs. I opened the door before she came in, and I did, please, a tortilla. And I said, if I win, I promise you I will thanks to you there. And she said, but if you don't win, you will say it was my fault. And I said, of course I wouldn't say that, but...
So thanks to Coco Lopez's mom and the tortilla, but also to you for some stellar driving. Let's give it a round of applause for our Nations Cup champion.
Thank you so much.
Coco Lopez, the 2022 Nations Cup World Champion. I think I've just about lost my voice after that one. I mean, and I think Coco Lopez is probably going to lose his voice after the party tonight that he's going to have here.
It's so nice to see Coco finally take the top spot. It really is. You know, I think that he's got a lot of fans here. I think we're amongst them as well. It's great to see what it means to him. You know, obviously, almost in tears down there in victory. But yeah, awesome to see it. I think a deserved winner.
And amazing to see him also on such a crescendo as well. Let's not forget, of course, he won the EMEA regional final here on Friday and then took the fight to the front here today. Great qualifying, missing out by pole position by just 1,000th of a second, and then going on to take the victory. Don't forget, of course, you can vote for your Michelin driver of the day. Is it Coco Lopez? Is it Angel Enestrosa? Or is it Takuma Miyazono? Get in touch on social media, hashtag GT7, hashtag GT World Series. We'll announce, of course, the Michelin driver of the day in due course. I think there's going to be a fair few votes for...
That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yes, right. Goodness me. I mean, just what an amazing event, really. What an amazing way to have a world final in person for 2.5 years. We like a bit of drama. We like it spicy. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a bit more than that, could we? That was the full Vindaloo.
What was it you say? Huge drama! That's the Tom Brooks line there.
Yeah, well, you know, I can get away with it, I suppose, in some respects. Don't forget, of course, it is the 25th anniversary of Gran Turismo, and this year, and this month, and right now, in fact, on GT7, we are giving you the opportunity to get involved as well. We've got a campaign, of course, that is open on GT7. So let's find out a little bit more about what's going on.
If you have opened up GT7 in the past couple of days, you will see that it has been updated for the World Finals. We're celebrating Gran Turismo's 25th anniversary in style. And if you enter the 25th anniversary races, you will be gifted a X2019 in a stunning special livery. You can also get closer to the action by competing in the exact same races as our 2022 World Finals drivers. And if you're watching this Nations Cup Grand Final stream, you're in for a big treat. Click on the Viewers Campaign tile at the top of the world map within the next 7 days and answer a question you can only know the answer to if you're watching. and you will have early access to the stunning Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo that we unveiled live today. See you in GT7.
Well, we hope you enjoy the 25th anniversary campaign special on GT7 at the moment, but we are now ready for our podium ceremony for the 2022 Nations Cup Grand Finals here in Monaco. So let's get things underway, shall we? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in third place in the Nations Cup GT World Series in 2022 from Brazil, it is Igor Fraga! In second place in the Nations Cup for the GT World Series, please welcome onto the stage from Chile, it's Angel Enestrosa! Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the stage your 2022 Nations Cup World Champion in the GT World Series from Spain, Coque Lopez! And now, ladies and gentlemen, your respect please for the national anthem of Spain. Huge congratulations to Coque Lopez, the 2022 champion. Now it is time to present the awards to our top 3 finishers of this season. Presenting the third place award, it is Mauro Piccoli, the Chief Marketing Officer of Brembo. And the award goes to our third place finisher this season for Igor Fraga. The second place trophy is presented by Masaya Kaji, the General Manager for Toyota Gazoo Racing, and it is presented to the second place finisher in the Nations Cup this season from Chile, Angel Enestrosa. And now the winner's trophy is presented by Kazunori Yamauchi, the Gran Turismo Series producer. And it is awarded to our 2022 Nations Cup World Champion. Please give it your all from Spain, Coque Lopez!
I'm trying to think of another word other than just spicy, because it seems to be the only word we can use the entire 4 days that we've been here, but that was spicy, man!
Yeah, I mean, like, what a dramatic finish to what has been a dramatic 4 days here at Monaco. But I think still deserved winner. Coque Lopez was so good today, and seeing him up there as well, a bit of a tear in my eye.
He's been around for so long and so, like, just gunning for it over and over and over again. And yeah, it's a little warm glow in my cold heart to see that happen.
I mean, let's not forget, it's not just about being crowned as the champion, it's also about the result he got in the regional final. It's about the drive he had in that race. And as Jimmy said, his driving was that of a champion.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't believe it's coming to the end of the whole...
I can't I can't wait to do it again. That's all I have to say.
Well, let's hopefully, that'll be great for doing it next year. Well, look, I hope you guys have enjoyed being here with us. It's been an absolutely amazing 4 days of some stellar racing. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. Want to do it again next year? I think we're up for it. What do you reckon?
Yeah, let us know in the comments, I think. An awesome show here in Monaco. A great way to end off the year.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to be here and host this for you. We will see you again next year.
Love you, bye!
Bye!
PlayStation
White line cut.
Please welcome onto the stage your 2022 Nations Cup World Champion.
If you have opened up GT7 in the past couple of days, you will see that it has been updated for the World Finals. We're celebrating Gran Turismo's 25th anniversary in style. And if you enter the 25th anniversary races, you will be gifted a X2019 in a stunning special livery. You can also get closer to the action by competing in the exact same races as our 2022 World Finals drivers. And if you're watching this Nations Cup Grand Final stream, you're in for a big treat. Click on the Viewers Campaign tile at the top of the world map within the next 7 days and answer a question you can only know the answer to if you're watching. And you will have early access to the stunning Ferrari Vision Gran Turismo that we unveiled live today. See you in GT7.
White line cut.
Please welcome onto the stage your 2022 Nations Cup World Champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening. Welcome to the Monte Carlo Sporting, the venue for the 2022 Gran Turismo World Series. Today we've had the Nations Cup Grand Finals and we have our top three finishers in reverse order. In third place it was Igor Fraga from Brazil. In second place from Chile it was Angel Inestrosa. And in first place as the 2022 Nations Cup World Champion from Spain, Coque Lopez. Many congratulations to you all. First of all, Igor, we'll start off by asking yourself a question. Third place was the best result you could achieve this weekend. How do you feel about that? Are you disappointed?
To be honest, I'm not really disappointed. I think I'm actually a bit happy with the result. Obviously, when you are racing, you always want to win. But for especially this World Final, as I told on the TGR Cup, I had many activities prior to here. So I couldn't practice at all. And being able to come here and do my one of best performance from the old World Final was very surprising for me as well. The pace was there. The qualifying obviously lacked it a little bit. I think it was natural. And the races itself went well until the pit stop. I got caught crossing the white line. It was very kind of shiny on the in-game. It was very bright. And using the bumper cam, it's very low to the ground, so I couldn't see when the white line was actually closing to the pit lane. And yeah, ended up taking 3-second penalty, which kind of converts into double. So yeah, that kind of things could happen. But anyways, overall, I'm very happy with my performance here.
And how do you take this performance forward into 2023, should you return to the GT World Series?
I don't know, every year is a new challenge, so definitely have to keep a lot of work in it. And yeah, hopefully I can come back again and fight for another World Championship.
Igor, thank you very much. Now we move over to second place, Angel Inestrosa. Angel, of course, controversial circumstances awarding you second place on that final lap. First of all, just talk us through that final lap from your perspective.
Well, it was quite tough. I mean, you always wanna, if you see a space, a gap, you want to go for it. I tried so, and at the end, I didn't expect that movement, to be honest. And I'm not gonna hide what I feel, what I think, but I don't think that's fair enough. I would recommend Polyphony to change the stewards. Because they simply don't know how to judge a movement. I mean, you cannot win a championship like that. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, Angel, thank you very much. Now we will move over to Coque Lopez. Coque, you are the 2022 Nations Cup champion. Of course, you were also involved in the controversial circumstances on the final lap. So just talk us through, firstly, that from your perspective.
Sorry, can you repeat again?
Just want to ask you about your perspective on the incidents on the final lap.
Yeah, I knew Angel was coming with soft, I don't know if soft or medium, but softer tire than my hard, of course. And I just tried to defend as much as possible the inside because I know with this car going around the outside, you understeer quite a bit. So it was important to take the inside. Still, I felt a contact from, I think, Miyazono behind me in the last corner of sector 2, and I almost lost it. Due to that, I lost the position to Angel. And in the last lap, in the last corner of the World Finals, you always have to try. I could, of course, have accepted if I got a penalty because I know it was on the limit. But I had to try. I didn't want to leave it, let's say, not trying to win. I, of course, even if I hit him, I didn't, I tried to not let him, how to say, make him go to the grass on the exit of the corner. And yeah, in the end, it worked. It's not, of course, how you want to win, but last lap, last corner, as I said, you have to try it.
And how does it feel, of course, the stewards decided not to change the award, but how does it feel to be crowned as the 2022 Nations Cup champion? Of course, you've been here since the start in 2018.
Yeah, I only actually missed 2 events in the beginning, and they were not official. They were the first World Tours. Then I've been in every single one, and it feels so good because actually before going to Monaco, before coming here, I was thinking if I didn't get a good result, I would probably not focus at all on the races, but more on the creating content, because in the end is what I get the money from, no? So actually races were better than expected, and I think I will stay here for a few more years.
Well, Koke, many congratulations. I'm now going to open it up to questions from the floor.
Hello, Tom from Traction.gg. Question for Koke. What does it mean to you to represent Spain in this competition and take them to their first victory?
It means a lot. Actually, I think Spain has a better level than what it seems like, because we have underage drivers who cannot come here, but they are even faster than me. So I know the level is so high, and of course so proud to represent Spain, and now also with Jose since a few years ago, because also he was underage before. I think we always try to give the best result to Spain, and now fortunately we could get the win, and I'm so happy for me, for my country, and of course thanks to all the people who support me.
My question is for Angel. I know you're very disappointed with this result, but you have to take into consideration this is your most successful campaign in the GT World Series to date. So does this give you extra motivation and excitement that you'll carry through to next year?
Well, I'm going to try to take this angry that I feel right now into motivation for next year. I'm going to try, you know. But yeah, as you said, this is my best result ever. So yeah, nevertheless, I'm quite happy to be second place. So yeah, that's all.
Hi, Nathan from The Race. A question for Angel. Looking back on it, is there any way you could have adjusted your strategy to have got a different result in the end?
Probably I did something wrong with the medium tires. I just did 9 laps, and I should have done like 11 laps. I think that was the big mistake that I did. But anyway, I mean, it was this close I was this close to get the win. So yeah.
Any further questions from the floor?
One more for Koke. You know, you've been doing these competitions for so long, and you've always been there, but you've never been, you know, a champion before. So have you done anything differently over this past year in the way that you practice or train that you think has put you on top of the podium?
To be honest, this year was being quite bad for me in terms of results. I was suffering more than expected, I think, because I took the beginning of the game as an opportunity to create content and try to grow my social media, which was my target with the new game. So I didn't practice as much as I should have done. But in the last few weeks, I tried to practice a bit more. Even I was not 100% qualified until the end of the last round in the online series, because I was 6 out of 6 who got qualified. So yeah, since the last 2 rounds, I tried to train more. I got the good result in the last round, which made me get qualified for this. And then I tried to keep the good moment, let's say. And it went good. Actually, I think I didn't train, like I didn't do anything different, just maybe more motivation. And that meant more training, more kilometers. And that's what made the difference, I think.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, no more questions from the floor, so it seems. So we'll go to some questions that have come through on social media. We'll first of all start off with a question for Koke. This chap says, legendary driver, mate, cheers from New York. Did driving on what feels like a street circuit feel more difficult, or was it more comfortable for you in the grand final?
Can you repeat slower, please? Because
sorry.
I don't understand so good.
So this person on social media asks, did driving at Trial Mountain, which is similar to a street circuit, did it feel more comfortable or more difficult for you?
Actually, I think I'm faster in real circuits, but I don't know, because Trial Mountain in the previous World Tour in Salzburg, I was pretty slow. I was practicing with Valerio and some other guys. I was like half a second per lap slower, but suddenly in the opposite way, I felt much better from the beginning. Also, the new physics on the Red Bull helped quite a lot, because the car became more oversteery, and I feel better with this kind of cars. But yeah, I think from now on it's going to be one of my favorite tracks for sure.
Thank you, Koke. Question for Igor. Igor, there's somebody on social media who asked, what happened with your strategy in the grand final?
Yeah, the strategy worked, I think, perfect. I did that two-stop, finished 8 seconds behind the top group. Even with the medium, I was able to follow closely Angel. At the beginning, like until he pitted, I was like only 1 second away, even being on the medium. So until there was going perfect, but I was really just the pit entry. The 3-second penalty is quite big, so yeah, it made you lose a lot of time. As I said, it was 8 seconds behind the leader. 3 seconds, you kind of slow down and then accelerate again, so you lose almost the double. So it's more or less 6 seconds. Then you got in traffic, you got a lot of stuff during the race. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Igor. Some more questions coming through for Koke Lopez. Koke, did you keep your strategy as planned during the race, or did you have to modify it?
I never plan a strategy before a race. I always plan like 5, 6, 7, 10, depending on what the drivers around me do. Also depends on the pace I have. I knew I had a good pace, but I would say Angel was a bit faster than me. With Miyazono, we were more or less the same, so I just tried to do something different to him. When we went to the pit, I just waited to choose my tires until I saw on the big screen that Miyazono chose the soft again, so I went on the medium. Also, because I knew Angel would come on the soft, and I was going to try to take his slipstream and try to be faster during 2 laps when he overtook me. So yeah, in the end, I think it worked perfectly, even though the last lap was so-so with 2 more drivers. But yeah, I'm happy with the strategy.
Perfect. And one final question for you from social media. Are you going to be partying tonight?
I told some friends, if I win, it's going to be the best party ever. And they said, and if you lose, it's going to be the best party ever. So yeah, actually, it's going to be so good, I guess. The only thing that maybe I'm going to be a bit tired, but I will enjoy it as much as possible. And yeah, really looking forward to it because this is also a nice place to have a party in Monaco.
Wonderful. Koke, thank you very much. Well, that does bring an end to the press conference and indeed to the GT World Series in 2022. Huge congratulations to our top 3 finishers, to Igor Fraga, to Angel Indestroza, and to Koke Lopez. Thank you to you at home for joining us as well for the GT World Series this year, and we look forward to bringing you more in 2023. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.